I'm in the world, but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, hitting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target! Some PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
I'm in the world, but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, hitting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target! Some PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
Check. All right. I don't know what the heck's going on with my computer. It's annoying me. For some reason, when I turn it on sometimes, all my settings are like reset. All my icons are always reset. My thing that I set up where my windows snap into certain places where I like them has disappeared. Like it was all set up perfectly and I could snap this window into here, this window here, the chat box here, and have it all the way I like it. But now all of that's gone. When I hold shift, it's not there anymore. And then when I try to open up the MSI Center, it tells me to update like every time that I turn it on, and it takes forever. I don't know, tech stuff. Technical difficulties. You guys don't care about that. It's just annoying me. What's up? It's Monday night, kicking the week off right. I'm tired. I'm out of coffee. I don't got no coffee left. I meant to buy more yesterday and I forgot. So we're coffeeless tonight. Wah. But we got a show. We got a show today. It's gonna be a race relations episode. Racial relations on the American home front. There's trouble in these waters. Trouble in these here waters. We're gonna look at this this pokey poke. Are we 5 minutes in? Yeah, we're 5 minutes in. The stabbing on the North Carolina train. The first report I saw about this is how come nobody's reporting on this? But now everybody's reporting on this. But this happened like 2 weeks ago. We just now found out about it on the 5th. It's the 8th now. And this happened a while ago. and there was no news of it. Nothing came out until the video was released. If they hadn't released the video, this would have been untalked about. But it's pretty crazy. Kind of typical. You know how it go. We got the stabbing thing. Then we got Druski doing whiteface. Everybody asked me all weekend, did you watch that yet? I watched it. Now I watched it. And I don't know. I'm not offended by it or anything. But, I'm just ready to go to a... We'll talk about... What would happen if I went to a rap concert in blackface? What do you think would happen? I mean, if I had a costume this good, maybe nobody would know. That's why he got away with it, because it was really good makeup job. Also, he had to sit and have makeup done for like hours. That's why he got away with it. Because it looked real. We'll look at that. And then not really race related, but we got the measles stuff. Oh shoot, what did I move that for? Stop doing that. Don't do that. Measles outbreaks. A lot of people have been talking about measles popping up in Texas, and I haven't talked about it yet. We had our first measles outbreak here in Utah. And I wonder if there's always been some measles happening, and they're just reporting on this now to scare us into getting the Vaseline. Get us, jab it up in there. The Lord of the Sims himself, you? Don't talk about yourself in third person, Elder Lion. What the? Then I got some rapid fire stuff. There's something that could be a story in itself in rapid fire. What was it? Let me see. Oh, yeah, we have a whole Transformer segment in rapid fire that could be its own thing. People are considering doing a Transformer band on rifles. Assault rifle, AR, assault style rifles as they call them, or just guns in general. A lot of people have been saying this is how you fix this problem. Don't let those people have guns. That's what I've been saying. And it looks like the Justice Department is considering it. So could be a W here. Could be a W. And then at the end of the show, we're gonna do a debate review. It's only a 20-minute debate. It's an old one. It's a throwback. And it kind of ties in with the race relations theme of the episode. Jank versus Jared Taylor. Jank loses his damn mind, as usual. God, I can't stand that guy. So, that's what we got planned. So, let's get right into it. Wait, go back there. Okay. All right, North Carolina, fatal train stabbing. I'm sure you guys have all seen the video. I'm going to play the video. We'll read this first from Breitbart. Pretty girl, Ukrainian. She fine. Dude, it's crazy the way some girls can just you put some glasses on, put a ponytail up, put a hat on, and you just look like an average chick. But then you see her photo shoots and stuff. She fine. Ukrainian. I told you. I'll go fight in the war. Give me one of these. But all right, let me read this from Breitbart. Suspect behind the fatal North Carolina train stabbing arrested, charged with murder, which left a Ukrainian woman dead, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder murder, according to multiple reports. DeCarlos Brown Jr. DeCarlos Brown Jr. No, he's not brown. He's another type of brown. DeCarlos Brown Jr., 34, was reportedly arrested and charged with first-degree murder after, how do you say this name? Irina Zarutska. Irina Zarutska, 23, was stabbed in the throat while riding the Charlotte light rail on August 22nd. August 22nd, this happened. Nobody knew anything about it until September 5th. Per the outlet, recently released video footage shows the moments leading up to and following the stabbing. In an edited video of the incident, Brown is seen sitting in a seat on the train prior to Zarutska entering the rail car and sitting down in front of him. I don't think there's any unedited footage of this, and even if there was, I couldn't show it. But it's all, you know, you don't actually see the stabby stab, but you see right before and right after. And what's crazy is the video of after, when he's walking around and just blood is just dripping from the knife and from his hand, and he's just walking around, and there's people sitting right next to it when it happens. You don't hear anybody scream, at least not in the footage I've seen. You don't hear any, you know, people are kind of just like, well, yeah, another day on the subway. It's wild. One clip from the video reportedly shows Brown taking out a pocket knife, unfolding it, standing up, and gearing up to attack Zarutska. Brown reportedly stabbed Zarutska 3 times in the throat area before walking away. Jeez. First clip shows the stabbing suspect, identified as Brown, sitting in a rail car. Before Zarutska boards the light rail, Brown can see moving around in a seat and appears to be emotional. Yeah, and he's talking to himself. He's obviously whacked out of his mind. Next clip shows one angle of Zarutska entering the rail car and sitting down in front of Brown. The clip that follows is another angle showing Zarutska entering the rail car, sitting down. About 1 minute and 30 seconds into the video, Brown can be seen taking out a pocket knife, unfolding it, standing up. In the full video, WBTV observed the attacker swing his arm and stab Zarutska 3 times in the throat area before walking away. Zarutska looked visibly shocked by the attack, falling to the floor short. She looked visibly shocked? Yeah, she got stabbed 3 times in the throat by a big black guy behind her. Another clip from the video appears to show Brown walk away from Zarutska and move through the rail car, with some passengers noticing blood dripping from Brown, according to the outlet. And that's what's weird, is he's just walking around and they see the blood dripping off his knife, and they just kind of look at it and they're like, oh, whoa, there's blood on the ground. But why isn't the other 2 people that were sitting next to him just screaming bloody murder? Like, what did they do? Just sit there? Nobody noticed? What? It's kind of weird. I'll show you here in a second. Let me just finish this. In response to Charlotte area transit system releasing video footage of the incident, Charlotte Mayor V. Lyles, Democrat, typical, thanked media partners and community members for not sharing or reposting the footage out of respect for Zarutska's family. Yeah, but you didn't have to release that. Well, they did release the footage now. What blows my mind is how on earth a tiny woman can sit in front of anyone talking to themselves in public transportation and chill on their phone. Yeah, you gotta be hyper vigilant if you're in an urban area and you're sitting on the subway. Thank you, Auntie. This is what I always say this. Like, if you're in any area, urban area, you know, if you're ever having an urban adventure, you have to stay hyper vigilant. You always need to be aware of your surroundings, looking around you. When you sit down on the bus, don't be having on a train, don't be having nobody behind you. Sit with your back against the wall and watch your surroundings. You know, she came from war-torn Ukraine to escape the war. You'd think well, I don't want to do no like victim blaming or something. I'm just saying you got to be aware. You got to be alert in these situations. It's crazy. Let's go to the video. Can I make this Let me see. Hold on. I'm going to have to adjust a few things real quick so it'll be full screen. One moment. Un momento. I'm going to have to fix this afterwards. Okay. All right, here we go. Warning, graphic content. You don't actually see the stabbing, so don't worry. In this video that I'm going to play doesn't have the when he walks away part. This is just the whole lead up. Here we go. I'm thinking maybe the reason you don't hear anything is because this isn't actually the audio from the train car. This is just like, I don't know, some sort of, maybe they're recording over it and this is the audio in the room where they're recording it or something. This can't be the audio from the train car. But you'll see what I'm talking about when he walks by the guy and the blood's dripping and the guy turns around and looks at it. It's like you think you would have known already because as soon as it happened, everybody, this lady here or these people over here would have started screaming bloody murder. No pun intended. Pun intended, I guess, because it was bloody murder. Yeah, this dude's tweaking.
This stop is Stanley Park Station. Please exit right.
Is he nodding? Kind of looks like he's nodding. He's probably on some fent and some meth, a little speedball. Little girl. You're going to sit with Lil Wayne behind you on a train. Lil Wayne on a train. Looking like he's in pain. Not a good idea. Yeah, this is not the train audio. Well, but you can hear the doo doo, and you hear the train. So this is the train audio. So I don't know where this, what's up with the audio. He's thinking. His demons are talking to him right now. You're going to sit with Lil Wayne behind you looking like he's in pain. On a train. Can't complain.
Please stand clear. Doors are closing. Train is about to move.
So these two people, as soon as this happens, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 people. As soon as this happens, these people should be freaking out. Maybe they're afraid. They don't want to get stabbed. But they don't. Everybody's just on their phones. This guy doesn't have a phone. Long ass fingernails. Boom. 3 times. Boom, boom, boom. And these people are just playing Angry Birds. Crazy. Look how tiny she is. Oh, man. Death penalty. Yeah. Quick. Fast. What do you mean, what if he's innocent? I don't want to hear that retarded crap. What if he's innocent? Shut up. I'm not saying allegedly. There's video footage of him doing it. Execute him. Maybe it's AI. So that's it from the post, but I don't want to click that. Stop. This is the one from X. So we've seen all this, but I want to show when he walks away. Okay, so he gets up. Now that's the door she came into, I'm pretty sure. So the camera cuts. Now there's no audio here. Look at all the blood dripping. Now I don't know if this guy's running away, but these people seem to not notice. This is, if you've ever been on one of these trains, this is the door she came in. The seats she was sitting in and the back part of the train is right over here. So 4 people right now should be screaming bloody murder, quite literally. And this dude's just chilling with his back turned, not aware of his situations either. Totally, what's the word I'm looking for? God, my brain doesn't work the way it used to. Just totally unaware of what's happening around them. This guy looks down at the ground. Oh, there's some blood here. What's this? And he looks back here. Oh, there's a girl bleeding out, stabbed on the ground. What are the 4 people in the back of the train doing right now? Then he goes to this door, takes off his hoodie. This guy's still just chilling, sitting down on his phone. Like that, I don't know. That's wild to me. People completely oblivious. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. People totally oblivious to what's happening around them. It's wild to me. She had her earbuds in. Nah, I'm victim blaming, dude. What the hell? Well, everybody was oblivious. Everybody was just totally absorbed with their phone. I mean, maybe they're not in like a horrible area. It's North Carolina. Take your shirt off, give them raise up, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter. You know, you got Petey Pablo out here. You got to be on point all the time in these urban environments. He couldn't be that cracked out if he was wearing enough to take off his hoodie. Oh, he was cracked out. Looked like he was nodding. But also he's probably just mentally deranged completely. It's crazy. But the big thing was media didn't report on this at all for 2 weeks. Now I understand not releasing the video because you don't want for the family. But you could still report on the story. But no, they don't report on it. If the races were swapped, we would know about this immediately. If a white guy just stabbed a black guy on a train, we'd probably see some BLM protests. Crazy. I just had deja vu. Several establishment media, this is also from Breitbart, several establishment media outlets were criticized for not covering the stabbing on a North Carolina train, which resulted in the death of a Ukrainian woman. Senator Ted Cruz, Elon Musk, and the president of El Salvador, Bukele, were among the people who criticized outlets such as NPR, CNN, New York Times, PBS. Well, PBS, get rid of them. They're gone. For having 0 stories on the deadly stabbing. As Breitbart News previously reported, DeCarlos Brown Jr. was arrested and charged, first-degree murder. And then there's... Oh, it's not showing me. Just everybody's reposting this tweet that says AP 0 coverage, PBS 0 coverage, CNN 0 coverage, ABC 0 coverage, NPR 0 coverage, New York Times 0 coverage. Nobody talked about it. Now once the video released, everybody's talking about it because the public sees it now. According to the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department. It is Charlotte. Charlotte is yeah. Charlotte's a mess. What do you mean? You got to be on point. You're on a subway in Charlotte. Come on now. The outlet noted that court records show Brown's records includes larceny, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and communicating threats. Charlotte Mayor V. Lyles issued a statement thanking media partners and community members for not sharing or reposting the footage. Well, they did. The video of the heartbreaking attack that took Irina Zarutska's life is now public. Lyles said, I want to thank our media partners and community members who have chosen not to repost or share the footage out of respect for her family. Well, it's been reposted and shared. It's been shared now. And I got to stop doing that tongue clicking thing. I don't know why. Sometimes I go like that. I got to stop doing that because I re-listened to a debate, the debate that I did with John Mosman, and I kept doing that. And it annoys me. President Trump reacts. This is from WBTV. Hold on, I gotta fix this again. Let's go here. Everybody knows you're here, Dean. And nobody cares. President Donald Trump reacted to news of the deadly stabbing on a Charlotte light rail last month, calling the situation horrible. Horrible, Trump said Sunday after hearing about the case for the first time. I haven't heard, but I'll know all about it by tomorrow morning. The president made a remark after getting off Air Force One at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland on September 7th, 2.5 weeks after 23-year-old Irina Zarutska was stabbed to death on a Cat's light rail. Graphic video of the train stabbing was released September 5th. In the video, oh yeah, we already know this. Knife dripping blood. Officials have since said the seemingly unprovoked stabbing was random, senseless, and tragic. Where does it say? I thought I had an article about her. She was a war refugee from Ukraine. I had another one. Where did it go? There she is. This is the picture we'd rather. She's pretty. She's very pretty. Sad. Multiple arrests dating back to 2011. And then somewhere in here it says Zarutska grabbed her neck, collapsed into her seat, pronounced dead on the light rail. Wow. He got off at the next stop where a folding knife was later recovered near the platform. He was treated at the hospital for a cut on his hand. Don't even treat him. It took 6 minutes for police to respond, which noted transit security guards were on the train, but in the car ahead of Zarutska's when she was attacked. And I think this looks a lot like the tracks that we have. You can't go from one cart to the other cart while it's moving. It's not like the front runner you can. Some trains you can walk in between the carts, but these ones you can't. You have to get out and go around to get to the other cart. God, man. Trump rages over murder. Horrific killings require horrible actions. I agree, Trump. I don't even think they're horrible actions. I say he gets the firing squad. We do firing squads here in Utah. Just line them up. Kosher, Maryland. What's up, producer? Trying to find where. The suspect is homeless and once served 5 years in prison for robbery with a deadly weapon. Arrested and charged with misusing 911 after a police welfare check. During that incident, officer said he bizarrely claimed a man-made material was inside his body, was controlling him as he ate, walked, and talked. Yeah, you're a man-made demon. That's what that is. He wanted officers to investigate this man-made material that was inside of his body. Yeah, you got demons, buddy. The family set up here it is. Consider a plan to expand Charlotte-Mecklenburg police patrols on buses and trains. CAS officials also said Friday the video was released due to media request. A GoFundMe set up by Zarutska's family, which has raised more than $38,000 so far, said she had recently arrived in the United States seeking safety from the war and hoping for a new beginning. Hopefully that GoFundMe has skyrocketed since this article. It's crazy if you call a kid a racial slur on a playground, you get $500,000 in a week. This number should be way higher than 38,000. Tragically, her life was cut short far too soon. Investigation remains ongoing. Ukrainian refugee. That's wild. Anyway, I don't know how much more I can say about that. It is what it is. It's just crazy. More of the same. It was a demon's hand up his butt working him like a puppet. Don't do robbery. Nobody cares about the robbery, Robert. We care about the murder. The murder's a little more important, but pretty girl. Sad. Anyway, we can move on from that. So now, so this is happening. Then we have Druski, the comedian. You know, is this funny? It's funny, whatever. He's doing a character. It's funny, but the part where he like spits at the black guy, which we're going to see here in a second, and he's like, "Hey boy, what you going? Where are you doing? What are you doing?" And NASCAR has come out and made a statement about this, or somebody came out and made a statement about this. They're like, it's hard enough being a NASCAR fan. People think you're automatically a racist redneck, which isn't true. You might be a redneck, but racism doesn't exist. It's not real. It's just people observing, patterns, and there might be something biological and cultural about it. Biological. There might be something related to biology and culture. But he does, yeah, the thing where he spits on the ground with the black guy, we'll see it here in a second, is messed up. And the double standards are amazing. If a white guy did this at a hip hop concert, first off, if anybody figured out that it was fake, he would probably get stabbed to death or shot. I can say bunches. I just default to common sense. Yeah. Let's watch this.
Here's the love. Here's the honor. If you can't come in her, come on her. Yeah! Yeah! Born in the USA! Woo! Born in the USA! Hey, Suanna.
She's not listening.
Here come.
He's doing a good character. It is funny. I'm not mad at it. Druski is the type of comedian that if somebody wore blackface, he'd say, that's racist. How dare they?
Oh, you need to listen to your nana. Go ahead, baby. Girl, you crazy now.
So he's just spitting at black people as they walk by. And they know where they're at. Like, they know They're not going to do anything. They know where they're at.
Hey, me, Ma. How you doing, baby? How you doing, baby? You good? All right, now. Mama. Hey, you lost,
This
boy?
part. This part's messed up.
No, I'm going to the race. What race? NASCAR race. You going to NASCAR? Yes, sir. A little bit. You ain't lost, is you?
No, I'm good. I'm going to the race, sir.
You sure about that?
Yes, sir.
Find something safe to do, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up.
If liquor don't kill us, pussy must.
That's a nice mullet, though.
Yeah! Woo! Bring on the troops, baby! Oh, that fucker will go. I see. Dan Arthur.
Randy Van Devin.
Dan Arthur. Oh, South Dakota.
Yeah.
He got VIP passes. He got VIP passes into NASCAR doing that. It's funny because it's true. It's not true. Nobody at NASCAR is doing that. I guarantee you, if you ask that black guy, does that happen to him every time he comes to a NASCAR event? He's going to say no. It's not true. It's stupid.
Damn right. Proud to be American.
Nobody's doing that to that black guy at NASCAR, or he wouldn't be there. I guarantee you that's never happened to him before at a NASCAR event. This perpetuates this idea that all these white people are just running around being racist to black people. Yeah, I've already said if you flipped it, you'd get killed. If anybody found out that it was fake, and everybody would be freaking out, losing their minds. Most people, are saying it's fine. It's not a big deal. But if it was the other way around, people be getting canceled. And he gets lauded. See, so I'll show you how the two, compared to Rolling Stone's reporting, which they're not going to let me read the whole article. They're going to tell you about the makeup artist. Druski went viral for turning into a white NASCAR fan. Meet the makeup artist who did it. She did Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Internet's most impressive comedy sketch. So that's how Rolling Stone is reporting on it. Breitbart is pointing out the outrage. And I don't think there's a lot of outrage. Comedian Druski sparks outrage for donning whiteface, portraying NASCAR fans as racist. Popular comedian taking heat for painting his face and body and makeup to portray a white person donning overalls and portraying NASCAR fans as racist. Posted a video bit on Tuesday. It has since gone viral. While the makeup job is being hailed as remarkably convincing, many are slamming him for portraying white people as racist. 30-year-old comedian painted his upper body, arms, hands, and face to replicate a Caucasian skin tone. Caucasian? I ain't never been to the Caucasus Mountains. And even added a farmer's tan sunburn to his shoulders and arms. He also added multiple America flag tattoos, put on a believable wig and beard, and topped it all off with a USA flag cowboy hat. Several scenes, the comedian seen threatening black people and spitting in their direction. He is spitting on the ground in front of a black man. And in the second, he is heard berating a black NASCAR fan who Druski asks, "Are you lost, boy?" He then threateningly tells him to find something safe to do, as if black people are in danger for attending a NASCAR event. Searing skit sent many to social media to blast the comedian. However, this is merely the latest skit in which he's donned his white boy persona. Earlier this year, he released another viral video where he portrays a white boy who is accepted by the hood. That's fine. I got some ideas. Try to rethink reality. What are you talking about? Yeah, everybody's just walking around calling people N-words and being racist. Yeah. I live in reality, dude. That's not real. God, wake up. Haven't most adults learned sticks and stones break bones? The hood. But see, if you go to the hood in blackface, you're going to get shot. If you get caught. You'd have to have Guardians of the Galaxy level makeup artist to pull that off. Comedians weigh in. Here's what comedians are saying about Druski's whiteface stunt. Am I canceled? Never apologize. Yeah, he's not going to apologize. He shouldn't apologize. I'm not like offended by it. Look, they're mentioning Robert Downey in Tropic Thunder. I'm not offended. I just, I want to see a white comedian do it now and see the reaction to that. People be crying about it. People would lose your mind. What if my kids TP'd a house? What are you talking about, dude? The post drew comments from Nick Cannon and Jamie Foxx. Fire emojis. Fire emojis. You're not canceled, but go find yourself something safe to do. Druski's follow-up post prompted a debate among commenters about whether a black person posing as a white could be equated with the opposite. You can't have it one way and not see the other way. If blackface is offensive, then so is whiteface. Yeah. People will say, well, what about that lady? She called that kid the N-word at the park. Shiloh Hendricks. Yeah, well, white people are getting fed up. Maybe now people will start, seeing why white people are getting more racist. I don't know. I think there's a race war coming. I think it's coming. We've been seeing it for years. It's not looking good, and this doesn't help the situation. What are you talking about, kids toilet papering a house? It's not relevant. What are you talking about? The whites are tired of the neighbors, yeah. And this ain't going to make it much better. So maybe we will start seeing more of that in real life. Anyway, I'm going to have no coffee. I'm like low energy today. Can Shiloh make a sandwich, though? Shoot. Hopefully. She's got $500,000 now, but she's looking at jail time. How do they pick up charges on that months later? Like she's looking at jail time. All right. Off the race relations topic. There's going to be a little bit of reading here, just so that I can be informed on the stats and what's happening, because people are bringing this up in debates now, saying that it's an anti-vaxxer problem because people have stopped taking vaccines since Trump came in. It's all Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. Measles outbreaks. It's all Trump's fault. We have measles outbreaks. Even though Democrats were the original anti-vaxxers. That's why RFK is so against vaccines because he's a Democrat. Yeah, that's a Democrat thing. Health officials, now the pendulum has swung. Now it's the right who is anti-vaccine, and they're blaming this for all the media or the measles outbreaks. But I wonder if there's always been a few people that get measles here and there, and they just don't report on it. But now they're trying to push a narrative. But Utah has its first case. This is from KSL News Radio 102.7 FM in Utah. Health officials confirmed first measles case in Grand County. In Moab, health officials on Saturday reported the first case of measles in Grand County. The Southeast Utah Health Department confirmed an unvaccinated individual under the age of 18 was diagnosed after being exposed outside the county. According to a press release from the department, it said no. It said no. It said no. No period. What the heck? Who edited this? Look. I'm reading it right. It said no. It said no. Public health officials are actively conducting... What? It said no. What is this? There's no period there. Hey. Thank you, sir. Delete the folder. I can't. I got to save all my folders. The health department said there were no exposures in Grand County schools. Health officials are asking anyone who experiences the following symptoms of measles, which normally appear after 7 to 14 days, especially those who are unvaccinated or were exposed to a known case, to contact their healthcare provider. High fever, cough, runny nose, red watery eyes, a rash that starts on the face and spreads downward. Seems like a flu, but then you get a rash, and that could be measles. The best way to prevent the illness is receiving the measles, mumps, and rubella MMR vaccine, which is safe and highly effective, providing lifelong protection for most individuals, the release said. You know, I'm sure I got my measles vaccine when I was a kid. I don't know. I don't know if there's any dangers to that, but you know, once you force people to take the coof Vaseline, you scared people into not wanting to do vaccines at all. This is a manufactured problem. Last month, 2 school-aged children in Washington County tested positive for measles, according to the Southwest Utah Public Health Department. Children's schools were notified of potential exposure, and all unvaccinated children and adults who believe they have been exposed to the disease were encouraged to stay home for 21 days after exposure. So that's Utah. We've been hearing a lot about cases in Texas, and I haven't covered this at all yet. You have bubble gum? No, I don't have bubble gum. I don't chew bubble gum. I don't know what this dude's talking about in the chat. Anyway, so here's CDC. Measles cases and outbreaks. This is just 2025. I need a comparison of past years. And maybe if I scroll down, this is only, well, we got 24 and 25. I want to see, I don't know. We've got everything in here. So we'll look through these graphs. Updated of September 3rd, 2025. The data on this page reflects confirmed measles cases reported to the CDC as of noon on Tuesday. Be ready for measles toolkit. As of September 2nd, 2025, there have been a total of 1,431 confirmed measles cases reported in the United States. Among these, 1,413 of the measles cases were reported by 42 jurisdictions: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York State, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Almost all of them. Only a couple states weren't mentioned there. A total of 18 measles cases were reported among international visitors to the U.S. There have been 35 outbreaks reported in 2025, and 86% of the confirmed cases, 1,231 of 1,431, are outbreak associated. For comparison, 16 outbreaks were reported during 2024, and 69% of the cases were outbreak associated. So from, yeah, and this is why people are saying it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault we have measles outbreaks. Because for 6 months, people haven't been, allegedly, the narrative is for 6 months, people haven't been getting vaccinated. But I mean, it wouldn't just be since Trump got in. It'd be since 2020. Since 2020, I'm sure there's been a big reduction in the number of people getting vaccines. That was 4 years under Biden. That's because people are reacting. They're being reactionary to the mandates, to what we saw during the coup. So now people don't want to get any. And I'm sure, if anything, RFK has more to do with it, because he's scaring people about vaccines and autism rates going up and things like that. So a lot of people aren't taking their measles vaccine. At least that's the narrative. That's what we're being told. Now, I don't know. It could be we need to see numbers on how many people have decided not to get them. There is some information here. U.S. cases in 2025, 1,431. Under the age of 5 is 400. That's 28%. 5 to 19 is 38%. 20 plus is 34%. Age unknown, 7. How do you get measles and get your case reported, but they don't know your age? That don't even make sense. Would not with shingles on my worst enemy. Is shingles the same as measles? It's 2 different things, right? Vaccination status, unvaccinated or unknown, is 92%. 1 MMR dose is 4%. 2 MMR doses is 4%. So the claim is that this is the cause of the uprise in the measles things, which I guess makes sense. How dangerous is measles? Like, is it only deadly if you're elderly or what? U.S. hospitalizations, 12% of cases hospitalized. 85 of the 400, 40 of the 542, 53 of the 482. So it looks like it's more dangerous for kids. U.S. deaths in 2025, there have been 3 confirmed deaths. Now, and this is why they're saying it's all Trump's fault, because you see how it skyrockets. As soon as we get to February, it skyrockets. Now, again, this is CDC. And sorry, CDC, but I lost all my trust for you in 2020. So, and mostly it's in Texas. Texas has 802 cases. Could this have something to do with, I don't know, border crossings, maybe? Could that be a correlate? Measles kills. Yeah, measles kills 3 out of 4,000 people. Yeah. Who is this guy? Ryan Lopez. And MRSA zilts are horrible. Okay, nobody wants to hear about that, Dean. Yearly measles case, 2000 to present, 1985 to present. Let's look at 1985. So we're still nowhere close to back in here. 1985, what was going on? 1990 was a bad year for measles, 27,000. So I'm assuming, you shouldn't assume, but I'm assuming a vaccine came somewhere around here. And then it starts, basically gets down to almost 0. And then we see a bump. But 2020, there was a little bit of a spike too. 2019. Then it drops. 2023 to 2025 cases are preliminary and subject to change. The measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine is very safe and effective when more than 95% of people in a community are vaccinated. Most people are protected through community immunity, herd immunity. However, vaccination coverage among U.S. kindergartens has decreased from 95.2 during the 2019 to 2020 school year. But then why do we have a jump in 2019 to 2020? 1,274. This is when vaccine coverage was at its highest. But we still see a jump here. 92.7 in the 2023 to 2024 school year, leaving approximately 280,000 kindergartners at risk during the 2023 to 2024 school year. So we went from 95% coverage to 92.7. To dive into vaccine coverage data for MMR, visit VaxView. At local levels, vaccine coverage rates may vary considerably, and pockets of unvaccinated people can exist in states with high vaccination coverage. When measles gets into communities of unvaccinated people in the United States, outbreaks can occur. Alabama, Florida, Georgia, all these states did not assess coverage for individual vaccines. Estimates shown are percentage of kindergartners who received all doses of vaccines required for school entry, percent vaccinated. So, but see, Utah, 88.8%, and we have a case of the measles. Looks like blue is okay. So orange is bad, blue is good. Montana is the bluest. It's not telling me the numbers on it though. Or maybe that's not available. That's gray. It looks like light blue. Not available. No data available in Montana. California is 96. New Mexico is 95. 97, 95, 98. Yeah, it's going to be another. Oh, the red states. It's the red states. They don't want to get vaccinated, so they're getting the measles. Houston. Measles was officially eliminated from the United States. Apparently not in 2000, meaning there is no measles spreading within the country, and new cases are only found when someone contracts measles abroad and returns to the country. Could this big border have something to do with it? Interesting. Achieving measles elimination status in the United States was a historic public health achievement. The below figure illustrates how common measles were before vaccines and how vaccine policy enabled elimination. Yep. So see, yeah, just like that other graph. So, I mean, it seems to be a pretty strong correlate. But we're still at 92% vaccinated average in the country, but the outbreaks are coming up. So maybe vaccination status is not the correlate, the causal. Could the causal be an open border for 4 years? Maybe that has something to do with it. Then we'll look at specifically Texas here. I think this is just about Texas, or this is Harvard Health Publishing, Harvard Medical School. Measles is making a comeback. Can we stop it? 7 things to know about the recent measles outbreaks. No, nobody cares about your counter. 7 things to know about the recent measles outbreaks. Has the recent news about measles outbreaks in the U.S. surprised you? Didn't it seem like we were done with measles? In the U.S., widespread vaccination halted the ongoing spread of measles. More than 20 years ago, a major public health achievement. Before an effective vaccine was developed in the 1960s, nearly every child in the U.S. got measles. Complications like measles-related pneumonia or hearing loss were common, and 400 to 500 people died each year. As I write this, there have been 1,431 cases in 41 states, mostly among children. This is the largest number of cases in a year since 2000, when the disease was declared eliminated in the U.S. The biggest outbreak is in West Texas, where 90 West Texas, right by the border, where 99 people have been hospitalized and 2 unvaccinated school-age children recently died. The first measles deaths in the U.S. since 2015. Officials in New Mexico have also reported a measles-related death. Can we prevent these tragedies? Are you gonna vaccinate all the illegal immigrants? Everything is a psyop. Measles outbreaks are highly preventable. It's estimated that when 95%, we already read that, nationally, measles vaccination rates among school-age kids fell from 95 to 92 in 2023. Within Texas, the kindergarten vaccination rates have dipped below 95% in about half of all state counties. Still 92, though. See, I don't think this is strong evidence. I think I don't know. I think an open border might have had something to do with it. If the majority of cases come from people who get it abroad, that's kind of saying something. In the community at the center of West Texas outbreak, the reported rate is 82%. Declining vaccination rates are common in other parts of the U.S. too, and that leaves many people vulnerable to measles infections. I think this is all 95 to 92.5 is not a significant drop in vaccination rates, and we're still pretty close to the safe number. So this is not a strong correlate. What would be if they come from abroad and it's mostly in Texas? Could you think of another reason why we're seeing these outbreaks? I can, but I don't see any of these research groups talking about that. Why aren't they looking into that? It usually takes 7 to 14 days for symptoms to show up. Once a person gets infected, common early symptoms, fever, cough, runny nose, are similar to other viral infections, such as colds or flu. A few days into the illness, painless tiny white spots in the mouth called Koplik spots appear, but they're easy to miss and are absent in many cases. A day or two later, a distinctive skin rash develops. Unfortunately, a person with measles is highly contagious for days before the Koplik spots or skin rash appear. Very often, others have been exposed by the time measles is diagnosed and precautions are taken. Measles can be serious and even fatal. It can lead to brain inflammation, encephalitis, which can lead to seizures, hearing loss, or intellectual disability. Intellectual disability? I think somebody in the chat might have measles. Pneumonia, eye inflammation, and occasionally vision loss. Poor pregnancy outcomes such as miscarriage and subacute sclerosis, panencephalitis, a rare and lethal disease of the brain that can develop years after the initial measles infection. Complications are most common among children under the age of 5, adults over the age of 20, pregnant women, and people with impaired immune systems. Measles is fatal in up to 3 of every 1,000 cases. What are you doing, Echo? He's like, got his head like right in my lap. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing, buddy? You want some pets? He's been sick for like 3 days. He's been... You got the diarrhea, huh, bud? You must have ate something out of the trash can or something. I don't know what you did, what you got into, but he got into something. His stomach is very sensitive. Complications, I already read that. Getting measles may suppress your immune system. When you get sick from a viral or bacterial infection, antibodies created by your immune system will later recognize and help mount a defense against these intruders. In 2019, a study at Harvard Medical School found that the measles virus may wipe out up to 3/4 of antibodies protecting against viruses or bacteria that a child was previously immune to. Anything from strains of the flu to herpes virus to bacteria that causes pneumonia and skin infections. If your child gets the measles, then gets pneumonia 2 years later, you wouldn't necessarily tie the two together. The symptoms of measles itself may be only the tip of the iceberg, said the study's first author, Dr. Michael Mina. Oh, damn. I hope I don't got the measles. Even though they have never actually observed it doing anything at all. This coming from a former virologist, Dr. Stefan Lanka. That's like an incomplete sentence, Marilyn. What is even though? Even though what? If your child gets the measles and then pneumonia, I already read that. Vaccination is highly effective. Two doses of the current vaccine provide 97% of protection, much higher than most other vaccines. Rarely a person gets measles despite being fully vaccinated. When that happens, the disease tends to be milder and less likely to spread to others. I'm sure I got the measles vaccine when I was a kid. My parents weren't like anti-vaxxers, but also it wasn't the same as it is now. It's not like kids now are getting like 20 of them. And they'll like threaten you if you try to leave the hospital without having them get all of them. They'll threaten you. They try to fearmonger you. We talk about bodily autonomy, right to choose. But I guess you don't have the right to choose this because it's danger to other people. Well, abortion's a danger to other people too. You get gaslit for saying that. Yeah. To limit spread, everyone diagnosed with measles or anyone who might be infected should avoid close contact with others. That's isolation, mask wearing. Oh, my God. How come it seems oddly similar to the COOF? Hand washing, frequent hand washing, testing, pre-travel planning. So basically the same as with every illness. The bottom line, while news about measles in recent months may have been a surprise, it's also alarming. Oh, it's a surprise and it's alarming. It's an alarming surprise. It's a surprise alarm. Experts warn that the number of cases and possibly deaths are likely to increase. And due to falling vaccination rates, outbreaks are bound to keep occurring. One study estimates that between 9 and 15 million children in the U.S. could be susceptible to measles. But there's also good news. We know that measles outbreaks can be contained and the disease itself can be eliminated. Learn how to protect yourself and your family. Engage respectfully with people who are vaccine hesitant. Share what you've learned from reliable sources about the disease, especially about the well-established safety of vaccination. As a service to our readers, Harvard Health Department publishes access to our library. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't really have a problem with a measles vaccine. It's just I'm more, well, it is an outbreak. It is happening. And I'm covering it because people are blaming it on Trump. I've heard in debates, people say, this is all Trump's fault. Trump's here, and now we have measles outbreaks. Blame it on Trump. And that's the only commentary I can add is that's not a strong correlate. That's not a causal link. There could be other things. Looking at everything I just read, vaccination rate goes from 95 to 92.5. That's not a huge, it's not a proportionate tie between the increase in the measles outbreaks and the decrease in vaccine. It doesn't seem to tie together strongly. So what could be another reason? Well, if we know that usually you get it abroad or from people from coming out of the country into the country, and Texas is the major place hit. I'm not saying this is the cause, but why is nobody talking about, why is the CDC not looking into that? Could it have something to do with illegal immigration and an open border for 4 years? Could that have something to do with it? Maybe. Maybe it's not Trump's fault. Maybe it's Biden's fault for having the biggest border crisis that America ever saw. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas here. We get gaslit for saying that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're crazy. I'm crazy. I'm just a crazy person. I'm just a dumb, crazy guy. All right. That's it for the main story news. Sorry for the low energy today. I'm just tired. And I don't have coffee. I need my coffee. Oh, it's freaking fall is in the air. Fall is in the air. This is my favorite time of the year. Holidays time. And we got a busy holiday season. We got Mudvayne concert in October. We got DebateCon in November. We got Christmas with the family in December. So Busy holiday season, but fall's in the air when everything's already starting to be pumpkin spice. The pumpkin spice coffee latte is back at 7-Eleven. The pumpkin spice Starbucks iced coffee. I buy the big jugs. It's probably not good, but if I'm tired, I'm trying to not drink energy drinks as much. Trying to watch the figure. But when I'm tired at work sometimes, I'll get the big Starbucks iced coffee jug. And if you read the back, it's like there's like 12 servings in the jug. And I'll just drink that jug in one night, all throughout the night. It's a big old like liter bottle of Starbucks iced coffee. And the pumpkin flavor is back. I like the white chocolate mocha, but the pumpkin spice is pretty good too. Everything's pumpkin spice now. We got pumpkin flavored Xanax for your seasonal depression. Pumpkin spice Xanax for those with seasonal depression. I can't wait for Valentine's Day. Dean, Valentine's Day is in February. What are you talking about? My jelly fave? Why is Valentine's Day your favorite holiday? You ain't never had a Valentine in your life. What are you talking about, Dean? Yeah. Yes, Marilyn. I'll be there for a week. You gonna give me that $1,000? I don't have to stay with the family the whole time, No, I'm kidding. Okay. All right. Y'all know what time it is. Where's my folder? Get the folder. See, y'all tell me to delete the folder. I got all kinds of folders. You don't even know. Which one am I looking for? This one. No, this one. It's been 12 years with no Valentine. Then why is Valentine's Day your favorite holiday, Dean? What the? All right. All right. It's time for the meme. We got a bunch of memes today. A lot of memes. By the way, guys, grift time. Look at this dono bar. It's more than halfway filled. It's getting lighter on this side, but it's still heavy on this side. Hit up the super chats. I didn't even set a goal. We don't need a goal. There's the goal right there. Oh, loud. All right. Meme time. Dragon Ball meme. You don't know what I've been through. I've lost everyone I love twice. Skill issue? Huh? Nani? Delete the folder. You lost everyone you love twice. Sounds like a skill issue, Jiren. Golden Frieza. Savage. Huh? That's actually not what they say in the show, but I thought the meme was funny. What? Skill issue. Maybe you suck, Jiren. Goku's never lost everybody he's loved twice. Goku always saves the planet. Next. Local PTA, local parent-teacher association didn't think this one through. Ben & Jerry's, BJ's in your PJs. Come socialize and eat ice cream in your pajamas. BJ's in your PJs. What the? That's no bueno. Next. Did you know that a single sperm has 37.5 megabytes of DNA information in it? That means a normal ejaculation represents a data transfer of 1,587.5 terabytes. Duchess here says that's a lot of information to swallow. Whoa. What the? It's a lot of information to swallow. 1,500 terabytes? 37 megabytes doesn't seem like a bunch of information for DNA. Next. Jacksonville's crazy. When I was 15, Mom, can I go to a show? No, it's not safe. Me, but it's a Christian band. Okay, fine. Under Oath plays. This is so true. The first place I ever crowd surfed, the only place I've ever crowd surfed, was at an Under Oath concert in a church in Tampa. Yep. We were mosh pitting in a church. And then they started letting us get up on the stage and crowd surf. I crowd surfed in a church. Did you know that? Fun story. True story. Next. Whoa, what the? This is Miley Cyrus. Somebody said people just don't get fashion. Miley Cyrus's new look is iconic. But of course, it's the blonde American Eagle wearers who are talking crap about her. She looks like a demon. I don't know if this is real or AI or what, but I saw another one like this. I think it's real because I Googled Miley Cyrus. This is what she looks like now. And same with Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. If you look at recent pictures of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, they look like demon spawns. They look like they've had all of the adrenochrome, all of their soul sucked out of them. Yeah, that's crazy. Next, get that off my screen. It's freaking me out. Here's what we know so far about your ability to access a COVID-19 vaccine this season. The article was saying, if you read the article, it said there might be scarcity among the next round of Coof vaccines. There might be some scarcity. So make sure you get it early because they're going to be scarce. And somebody said, I like the new marketing gimmick, playing hard to get. I see what you're doing. You're playing hard to get. Okay. Next. When you're the wrong color, 74,221 AP articles about George Floyd. 0 AP articles about Irina Zarutska. 74,220 results. There are no results that match. Wow. Interesting. What do you think about that? What does the media have to say about Irina? Chirps. What's the difference between a lawyer and sperm? They both have a 1 in a million chance of being a human. Okay. What's the difference between a drug dealer and a prostitute? A prostitute can clean her crack and sell it again. Next. You're telling me this 26-year-old model is unironically physically attracted to this 45-year-old? Sure. Look at Kash Patel's new lady friend. The director of the FBI gets with this foreign model. She's fine, too. That's exotic. Remember Ezra. Remember Nehemiah, gentlemen. Remember Ezra and remember Nehemiah. Do not get with the exotic, strange foreign lady. It's dangerous. And I remember reading somewhere that men working in government positions that require high security clearance, Pentagon, CIA, FBI, etc., are told during orientation that if a woman who's a 9 or 10 shows up interested in you and you are a 4 or 5 or a 6, walk away. She's an agent. No particular reason this came to mind just now. No, Cash. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. Wah. Next. Definitely not a hillbilly. That's literary fiction. This is J.D. Vance is being set up to be the next president, guys. He's being touted by everybody. He's being set up to be the next president. And I don't agree with everything Fuentes says, but I've been listening to him and some other people out lately, and I'm hearing some things I don't like about JD. You know, at first I didn't like him. I was like, he's a Trump hater. He called Trump a Nazi. He's a Trump hater. I don't like him. But once he got in, he seems that he's been doing a decent job. He seems all right. But more and more information is coming out about him. So he was born as James Donald Bowman. Well, that's JD, so that's not a big deal. He grew up in the suburbs of Middleton, Ohio, not poor at all. He went to Yale. He changed his middle name to David instead of Donald. He changed his name again to Jimmy Hamill. In his yearbook picture, which I didn't save that meme, but in his yearbook picture, it says Jimmy Hamill. Or no. Well, maybe that's his college yearbook picture, because you couldn't change your name. He changed his name to J.D. Vance 10 years ago when he married his wife. And he wrote this article in the New York Times in 2017. This is real. I fact-checked it. Barack Obama and Me by J.D. Vance, written in January 2nd of 2017. In his 2017 New York Times op-ed titled Barack Obama and Me, J.D. Vance expressed admiration for Barack Obama despite their political differences. Vance, reflecting on his own challenging upbringing as described in his memoir Hillbilly Elegy, praised Obama's personal example as a husband and a father. He noted that Obama and his wife, treated each other with clear love and respect, and that he adored and cared for his children. Vance wrote that Obama's example offered hope and showed that someone with a background similar to his own could achieve a happy marriage and beautiful, thriving children. He stated, the president's example offered something no other public figure could, hope, and added, Barack Obama gave me hope that a boy who grew up like me could still achieve the most important of my life's dreams. Vance also expressed that he would miss Obama for the example he set despite their ideological differences. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that sweet? That's so sweet.
Two mentals don't make a non-mental.
Beta!
Next. A big congratulations to my friend Debbie on her 3rd promotion in a week. I don't know how she did it. How'd you do it, Debbie? What's up with your knees? Did you forget your knee pads? Debbie. Anybody know that reference? What movie is that from? Debbie. Does anybody see if anybody in chat knows that movie reference? Debbie, what's wrong with your knees, Debbie? Wah, 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 wah. We're fine. We don't need a sound effect for this one. I don't have a slurp sound effect. The farmer allows walkers to cross the field for free, but the bull charges. Get it? The bull charges, double entendre. Pun? Nice. I like it. Next. The homeless man outside the supermarket watching me ride the coin-operated horse after I told him I didn't have any change. Okay, I see what you're doing here. Thought you didn't have any change. Why you riding that unicorn? Why you riding in that little race car, buddy? Thought you didn't have any change. All right, next. We have a lot of memes. It's called a joke. We used to tell them before people became offended by everything. Yeah, a lot of people can't take a joke these days. Can't take a joke. Echo, just a little while, bud. You know the schedule. You know the routine. I'm going in just a bit. If you feel useless today, just remember that a guy used a lifeline for this. Equal to roughly 74 GWatts. What animal-based unit is used to measure the rate at which work is done? This is not the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire sound, but it's pretty close. Which measurement is used to measure the rate at which work is done? Donkey strength. A, horsepower. B, donkey strength. C, llama thrust. Or D, zebra force. I'm going to need to phone a friend. Can I get a 50-50 on this one? I'm stuck between donkey strength and zebra force. But I don't know. It could be llama thrust. I don't know. Horsepower sounds too generic. I'm looking at llama thrust. Call a friend. Echoes the smart. Yes. Next. Remember, when you bury a body, cover it with an endangered plant so that it's illegal to dig up. Follow me for more gardening tips. Dang. What? A body? Yes, use all your lifelines for that question. Next. The Statue of Liberty is chained. Think really hard. Think about that. The Statue of Liberty is chained. But look, the link is broken. It broke the link, but it's chained up. Somebody said the Statue of Liberty is throwing up an 8-8 friendly wave. A friendly wave from a Mustache Man. That the Statue of Liberty is doing one of those. I don't know about that. I don't know who said that, but it was funny. Was that Marilyn? Maybe Marilyn said that. Somebody said that. Next. Let's force them to use solar panels and then we'll block the sun. Hold on, I got talking lizard voice. Let's force them to use solar panels and then we'll block the sun. Good idea. Wait. Lizard people. France built that thing. I know. Nothing good comes from France. I can't even believe it. Next. Yeah, high blood pressure runs in our family. It's genetic. It's genetic. It's in our DNA to have high blood pressure. Why you eat McDonald's every night for dinner and the ever delicious Taco Bell. We got Domino's, we got McDonald's, we got Wendy's, we got Hardee's, and we got the ever delicious Taco Bell. Nobody knew the movie? The Debbie movie. That was a Strange Wilderness. This was the moment Bill decided to kill everybody on Earth. Bill! You're doing whiteface, Bill. Some dang climate freak nutted on you. Bill. And Bill Gates wanted to murder the entire world from that moment on. Next. Is this a medieval mace? I smashed it against some stones and trees, and it weighs quite a lot. It even has a small piece on the bottom for what I think is the remains of a handguard found in Romania. I don't quite get the joke. I think it's a bomb. I think the joke is that it's a bomb. I think he's holding a bomb. Am I right? Am I interpreting this meme correctly? I don't know. I might need to go to an authority to make sure I'm interpreting the meme correctly. Next. How men see yoga. This is accurate. This is very accurate. This is exactly what men think when they watch yoga. This is very, very true. 100%. 100% true. I can't deny it. Next. Okay, Tyrone, what comes at the end of a sentence? Parole? Damn, Tyrone. What the? Oh, man. How about new? Next. I had way too much to drink. I thought she was a pirate. Dude, it's Peggy Pegleg. She got peg legs. What the? Look at the peg legs. She's a pirate. Does she have an eye patch too? What in the world? Next. Her, I like guys who think about the future. Him, I drank pineapple juice before this date. Her, what? 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 What do you mean? What? What do you mean, what? I just drank some pineapple juice. I plan for the future. It's an unexploded ordinance. That's what I thought. Yeah. I don't think you are infallibly interpreting that meme. Next. Find Greta. Greta got a new haircut. Which one's Greta? No Country for Old Men. Dude from Dumb and Dumber. Lord Farquaad. Which one's Greta? This one's Greta. Ding, 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 ding. Look at Greta. Dude, I saw a picture of Greta. The haircut looks stupid, but Greta has matured. Greta has seriously matured. If you know what I'm talking about. Look up recent pictures of Greta Thunberg. Greta dang jumped to a dang double D. I don't know what happened, but the Greta popping out. Lord Farquaad. Next. The media, the reality. Something seems off here. In this movie, isn't the white kid the bad guy in the show? This is that British show. I never watched it. It looked stupid. The white kid was the evil white incel. Oh no, don't simp for Greta. I just saw that terrible clip you took from that conversation. You suck, JS. It was funny. It was funny. It was great. You guys were explaining good and evil. It was excellent. Next. Helen Keller denier. Ain't no way. You guys know about this? We've talked about it before. We've done a deep dive on the show. In case you didn't know. Helen Keller was a fraud. I don't believe it. I don't believe the stories. And there's a whole deep reason for why they pushed the whole Helen Keller narrative. It was to get funding for this school that they wanted to build. She flew a plane. It's been a while since I went into my Helen Keller folder. I have a Helen Keller folder. What did Helen Keller name her dog? I don't know. Helen Keller's a fraud. If you don't know about it, look into it. She spoke. There's 2 clips of her speaking. And after she moved to Germany, she had a German accent. She picked up a German accent. How does a blind deaf person pick up a mute blind deaf person pick up a German accent? That don't make no sense. Oh, the simping going up. Next. Neighbors are always the good guys. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The unvaccinated are dying. Aren't dying. Well, unless you get measles. But I think this is talking about the Coof Vaseline. You know? Next. Google Maps acquires Snapchat. New Snapchat filter. 134 people have been here and 22 people have been here. Thanks. Google Earth Snapchat? What the? How about new? Next. 134 people. Next. Short history of Japan. Shanghai samurai warriors. Nuke. Fake nuke. And then we got lolly and anime K-pop chicks. Wow. That's the history of Japan. Next. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Texas doctor sentenced to 10 years for forcing healthy patients into chemo, lying about chronic illness just to fund his life of luxury with jets, mansions, and Bentleys. Yep. Sounds about right. We broke Japan. Bring the evaporated milk meme back. I don't know what that one is. I think I remember an evaporated milk meme, but I can't remember which one you're talking about. Next. JS is mean. That conversation made you sound like your IQ is 7. I didn't make anybody sound like anything. I didn't force her to say anything. We needed to figure out the difference between good and evil. Next. Gasp. Oh no, a black cat. Gasp. Oh no, an ugly bitch. Base cat. Base cat. Next. Elon's trans son is broke and lives with 3 hippies in an apartment. What the? That's Elon's son? That's Elon's son? Hold up.
It's a man, baby.
How about new?
What the? Next. Group photo of everyone Bernie Sanders has lifted out of poverty. Spoiler alert. It's all Bernie Sanders. They're all Bernie Sanders. What the?
Beta!
I've been broke my whole life. Now money right.
Shout out Bernie. Next. In July 2009, this is a $230,000 house. Nice block, nice neighborhood, small single family house. You got a yard, you got a driveway. It's in a nice neighborhood. This is 2009. Same house in 2019. The house is $1 million and the block is decrepit. I don't know if this is real, but I doubt this is real, but it's funny. Empire in decay. Dang. Dude was a complete hypnotized puppet. I made her say all those words. Wah, wah, wah. Next. I guess they're not reindeer. They're the deer are getting out of the rain. They're not reindeer. They're dry deer. Dry deer. Next. It's an ad for a fucking funeral service. Come a little closer. Funeral services. Bergman and Saber. Come a little closer. It's a sign on the subway tracks. And it says, come a little closer. And then in real small letters, if you cross the tracks, you can read that it's signs for a funeral service. Plus, you might get stabbed up at the train. What is this symbol? Why are these crosses turned into 666? Imagine if it was 3 crosses. It'd be 666 with 3 crosses. Wow. I don't know if this is real, but it's funny. Next. First documented COVID test, France, 1553. He's shoving it up his nostrils. It's going straight up his nostrils. I'm just checking you. I'm just testing you. I never got... Shout out all the base people who never even took a test. Not once did I take a test. I did wear a mask once to get on an airplane, and that was it. But never got tested. And as for being COVID infested, I don't know yet. I'm too scared to get tested. You should at least have my side and his side. You just clipped his garbage. I didn't do anything. I just recorded for 10 minutes while you guys were arguing, and then I put it into the thing, and then it makes clips. And then I picked the clip that has the number with the highest virality, and it was that one. It seems like the AI is the one you should be mad at. You should be mad at AI. It's the one that thought that would be the most viral section of your conversation. I didn't. It's not my fault. I was forced to be tested every day because of my job. Dude, oh man. Well, the conspiracies. You know, you were giving yourself a mini lobotomy every day. You were scrambling your brains. That's how they dumb you down. And some of those tests actually were found to have traces of the virus on them. So the conspiracy theory is that that's how they were, one of the ways that they were spreading it. I don't know if that's true, but it was an interesting theory. Next. U.S. Naval Observatory. He's observing the navel. This is where you go to observe the navel. You had to get tested for work. Lord have mercy.
Beta!
Next. You know what they call a cigarette in Great Britain? What? Facebook temporarily blocked from posting. You know what? Facebook has actually loosened up in its guidelines a lot. And you can kind of get away with saying that word on Facebook. The British cigarette word. Next. I wish for the ability to switch between normal sight and sight that makes me see all the people that want to have sex with me. Granted, you now have the ability to close your eyes. And then you can see all the people that want to have sex with you. There you go. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do.
You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
Bro.
I was wondering where all my extra brain cells went. Yep, you were doing a little mini lobotomy every time you did it. Next. Gatorade's wild for this. Let her cook. WNBA, let her cook. Yeah. Sounds about right, Gatorade. Let her cook. Get out of the NBA, WNBA and go cook something. Make a sandwich, lady. Next. When you're walking up the stairs behind the 600-pound Hello Kitty girl and she trips, it's Goku. Nice. And that's it for the memes. All right. Marilyn didn't have to work because she's God. Well, I was working. I just wasn't working at a fancy enough job that I had to do all that. I would have just quit my job and found another one. Not going to be doing all that for a dang. I mean, granted, I was not making a lot of money. So if you had a good job, a good paying job, I get it. I ain't mad at you. You made it. You survived. But I wasn't getting paid enough to do all that mess. Actually, during COVID, I was doing the handyman stuff, or I was doing the renovation work, construction stuff. So I didn't need to. Echo. I know, bud. We got one more hour. You know the schedule. You know the schedule. All right, let's do rapid fire, and then we'll have time to review this debate. This debate's pretty wild, but we got some reels and rapid fire news first. Oh shoot, I opened them the wrong thing. I gotta do this. Take this over here. Close this. Okay, we got our girl. I love this girl. She's so funny. Hold on one second. Go here. Do this. What does this button do? Oh, no, that's not what I want to push. All right. Reels and rapid fire news. We got some funny reels. This girl's on Facebook, and I don't know where else she's at, but she's so funny. We've shown some of her shorts before. I always get a kick out of her.
Retirement home worker by the name of She Tally made the elderly do push. A retirement home worker by the name of She Tally made the elderly do push-ups in order to receive their meal.
Honestly, man, it's crazy. Y'all really sat out here until I got out of court. Y'all might as well had came and bailed me out if y'all wanted to talk that bad. But I don't regret anything that I did. They just be sitting around like they don't work their whole lives while I'm sitting here working my whole life trying to make sure they good. I don't like that. All they do is sit there, read newspapers, eat applesauce, watch TV, playing checkers and chess. No, if y'all want to eat, y'all got to earn the food. I said what I said. It's unhealthy to just sit there all bored. They not finna sit, like I said, I'm finna get mad again. Y'all finna have to send me to jail again. It's common sense. I ain't finna keep talking about the same thing. And I already know Miss Barbara is the one that called. She the same one. She got her family to put some surveillance cameras inside her room, hidden ones. I found them, took them down, and I take it out on her every single day. Since I've been working there, it's rules in here. We got procedures in here that we gotta follow. Y'all can't have no hidden cameras, but I'm finna go home.
That we should have.
But I'm finna go home. All they do is eat applesauce. She made them do push-ups for their food. Good job. Okay. Here's a wholesome one. Here's a wholesome one for you. This is 4 minutes long. It's wholesome, though.
I'll take you back to my first day at RHS this fall. The principal came out and gave us a heartfelt speech about equality and standing together. He began to list countless races, such as Latino, Asian, expressing how much they matter and how important they are. But never once did he mention a race or identity that reflects me, or half the kids that were in the class. Now, members of the board, I know you haven't been to school in a while, and I know none of you, or most of you, don't have any kids left in the school district. But you must admit how uncomfortable it will be to be characterized just by your skin color on the first day of school, and be thought that you were wrong just because of your skin color. So I will never forget the look one of my friends gave me from across the room as we were sitting there listening to this blatant bias being expressed in the so-called equity statement by the leader of our school. To be clear, I don't need you to tell me that I matter, but hearing the condolences given to other races and leaving just one race out, it inevitably you'll start to feel like you've done something wrong. And in our principal's attempt to unify us, he instead created unwarranted boundaries and barriers between his students, pitting us against each other based on characteristics that we can't control. In another separate instance, I was told that writing "All Lives Matter" on the whiteboard was political and could be seen as offensive. When I questioned the teacher after class, she told me that she didn't have an answer and she just had to erase it, and it was quickly erased. There are political signs all over RHS, about specific races that matter, specific sexual orientations that matter, and specific perspectives that matter. But when I questioned the RHS administration about how these signs were political, they told me that they were supporting human rights. So when I questioned why the equity statement couldn't represent all students, they told me that to even ask that question was outlandish and offensive.
Racist.
And when I asked why that was, they told me, quote, "Whites have a pretty good situation right now," unquote. So is that not racism? Disregarding my question merely because of the color of my skin? To be honest, after enduring a year of the people in charge telling me that I'm a racist and I'm privileged and pointing out our irreversible differences, I've never noticed race more. And it's becoming the first thing I notice when I meet someone, which has never before been the case. RHS administration confidently told me that RHS students and staff are happy with their equity statement. But from my experience in talking with other students, this is not the case. I know many kids who disagree with their teachers, but they're too scared to stand up because they're worried that their grades will be docked and their learning experience will be affected. My honors government teacher, I'm not going to say his name, but he's mentioned that Democrats care more about all people while Republicans only care about themselves. And he's also inferred to us that socialism is better than democracy. He even had a statue of a socialist leader in his classroom.
Probably Chavez, a bust of Cesar Chavez. Everybody's got that stupid bust. It was in the White House. In the Oval Office, they had a bust of Cesar Chavez.
I've been told by a lot of kids that they just stay silent and adjust their schoolwork to reflect an acceptable opinion to secure a good grade. I've been approached by multiple teachers who have told me in private that they just want to say that they agree with me and they support me standing up, but they can't say it in front of the class for fear of being disciplined by the administration in some way or losing their jobs. There is clearly only one way to think in this district, and that is that they are teaching their kids to shut up if they don't agree. Now, members of the board, I want you to take a good look at yourselves in the mirror tonight and ask, are you really standing up for the equality of all people, or are you just pushing a damaging political ideology on our students? A fellow coworker at my job, who by the way is of color, discreetly told me that the schools seem to be pushing a very leftist agenda in class.
Duh.
This proved that not everyone...
When I was a kid, my dad always told me, I didn't even know the difference between Republicans and Democrats, but my dad was very Republican, and he always said, all your teachers are Democrats. Like, before he knew anything about them, he'd just be like, and I'm like, how do you know? I don't even know what a Democrat is, but how do you know they're Democrats? He said, because they're teachers. He said, all teachers are Democrats. Not even most, just all teachers are Democrats.
Everyone is happy with your school, and not everyone who isn't happy is white. Now, due to all these instances I've mentioned and many more that I can't fit in this 5-minute speech, I have decided to leave this district and continue school on a private Christian school online. And there will be sacrifices, and I will not get to walk in the graduation ceremony or attend milestones at RHS, but I will be able to learn in an environment that is not intent on punishing me daily for my skin color and political views.
Based.
Now, regardless of how you take my speech, whether you just shrug it off as malarkey or Fox News talking points, I encourage you to think about it, because someday I'm going to be a leader. I may be the president, a governor, or just a professional golfer, but I will never stop believing that everybody has value, no matter their skin color or personal beliefs. And it's a shame that you're not going to be able to say that I was an alumni of RHS in District 196. Thank you.
Wait.
Base kid. What the heck is that?
If you play that one, it's with Jesse.
Okay, we got one more. All right. Here's why Islam is growing more rapidly than Christianity, and it's spreading all over the world. Here's why right here.
If you play that one, it's with Jesse Lee Peterson.
Got it.
And he's asking this Islamist, why do you live in a white Christian country and not in your country? He's so honest about it, but I think it's good for the audience and for you to see. Here, watch this, Vinny.
You live in a white country rather than your own country. You live in London.
Not a white country.
Why do you live in a white country? I'm sorry?
It's not a white country because I want to tell people about Islam. And if I stay in a Muslim country, they're already Muslim. So there's no point of me telling them about Islam, right? Good point. So I have to be in a place where people are not Muslim, right? So if I'm in the UK, there is a lot of people who are from different religions, different faiths, where I can have a dialogue, because this is what I do, right? Interfaith, religious discourse, and all of that. So I engage with different people. Yeah.
Could a Christian move to a Muslim country and freely and openly convert the people from Islam to Muslim? To Christian?
Well, ideally under Islamic law, no, you're not allowed to, because Christianity is false while Islam is the truth.
And so
just because you guys are liberal, wait, I'll answer you. Just because you guys are liberals, following liberalism, and you believe that anyone can do whatever they want to do, that does not mean that we're also liberal, all right? We don't allow harmful ideologies for our children. We don't allow these harmful ideologies to infiltrate into our people.
Based.
To buy gold.
Everything he said was based, except for the Islam is true and Christianity is false. But everything else he said, 100% true. All right. Now we got a little rapid fire news, just some interesting news stories. So this is not really a news story. You guys ever heard of this thing? Have you ever heard of this giant pink rabbit? The journey of the giant pink rabbit. The saga of the giant pink rabbit began in 2005 when Austrian art collective Gelatin unveiled their ambitious project in the rolling hills of the Italian Alps near the town of Artesina. This colossal knitted sculpture, affectionately named Hass, or Hassi, German for rabbit, stretched an impressive 200 feet in length and was crafted from soft pink wool and fabric. The idea was born from Gelatin's playful, provocative artist. Look at this giant bunny rabbit that you can see from Google Earth. Stuffed animal. It's made out of hay bales, and it's just off in the cut in the mountains, but then it decayed, and now it looks like a dang rabbit skeleton. I got the video here. Watch.
What's up, guys? This video was sort of made out on a limb, but I thought I'd start a new series called Google Maps Anomalies. And what better way than to start off the series with one that a lot of people actually know about across the internet. Images of some huge pink rabbit atop a hill have circulated around the internet for quite a while now. A lot of you have probably seen this photo or similar photos. And it is true that at one point...
I thought it was fake when I first saw this on Facebook. I was like, that's not real. This is AI or something. But apparently it's real.
This big pink rabbit did actually exist. For a bit of context, it's actually an art project, and it was made by the Viennese group Gelatin. The actual name of the art project, it's not just Giant Pink Rabbit, but it's actually Haze or Hasse. I'm not actually sure how you pronounce that word since it's German and I don't speak German. The hill in question is the Coletto Fava Hill, and it's located in Italy. Here's a photo of the rabbit being constructed. It took 5 years to construct.
Look, it's hay bales. Isn't that cool?
And it might actually look a bit like a stuffed animal. That's what I thought it was at first. But it's actually just hay. It's completely hay, and it's got that sort of like light pink wrapping around it, which is more or less just like a sheet wrapping it up. Originally, when it was created, it was expected to last until more or less 2025. but most of the hay in the rabbit ended up decomposing fairly quickly. Here's a photo from 2011, and you can see that it was already white and starting to decompose by that point. Note that none of it was...
How do they think hay is just going to last for 20 years? Duh, of course it's going to decompose quickly.
Was actually demolished, so you can still visit where the rabbit once was, and you'll see like an impression of where it was, and you'll still see some small piles of hay and like pieces of the wrapping around, but the rabbit itself doesn't really exist anymore. I actually really commend why it was made and put there. The art group Gelatin actually designed the piece specifically for people to find it and climb on it, and that's something I really commend. It was made for people to discover, by people. And it's really a bummer that it didn't really last too long. The satellites for the area on Google Maps have since been updated since the bunny was first constructed, so if you try to find it now, it won't be there. But you'll still be able to see the impression that it's left on the hill. I hope you guys liked...
Anyway, fun little story. Figure I'll have one fun story. Now we're going to get into some darker stuff. Update on the Minneapolis shooter. Minneapolis school shooter's furry girlfriend ID'd after killer described past relationship as a root of my suffering. So here's the trans Robert, whatever the heck his name is, Robert Westman. They're still saying Robin Westman. It's Robert. Here's Robert Westman's girlfriend. I don't know if it's actually a girl. And here she is again. Abigail Boddick. I don't know. It sucks that, you know, she didn't technically do anything, but typical. I'm just showing this to say it's typical that this freak had a furry girlfriend. Why am I not surprised? Not surprised at all. But relating to that, check this out. So a lot of conservatives and other people have been saying for a while now that demonic transformers shouldn't be able to have AR-15s outside of a child drag queen story hour, which we saw. Remember the Texas one where they had kids in an adult bar and they were doing like a kids drag show for kids, and conservatives were going to try to stop it, but there was a bunch of transgenders with AR-15s in front of the building. And I said, if that's what the First and the Second Amendment are, then I don't care about the First and Second Amendment anymore. I could care less about the First and Second Amendment if that's what it protects. If that's what the First and Second Amendment are for, I don't care about it. It means nothing to me. And they're like, oh, now the conservatives are gun grabbers. Yes. Yep. We'll grab your guns. And looks like the Justice Department is looking into it. Justice Department considers a possible ban on transgender people owning guns. Department of Justice officials are contemplating a possible ban. Recent discussions of these guns restrictions followed the Minneapolis Catholic school shooting and reports that the suspect was transgender. Not just that one. There's been a lot lately. It keeps happening over and over and over again. President Donald Trump has issued executive orders banning transgender people from serving in the military and barred transgender women from participating in women's sports. Only one more step, Donnie. Don't let them have guns. And anybody who's like, oh, my guns over my dead body, this is violating the Second Amendment. I don't care. Shut up. I'm not a constitutional conservative. I'm a Christian conservative. And I don't think the founding fathers would be wanting these people to be running around with guns. They'd be turning over in their graves. They had no idea this was a thing that was going to come to America. Senior DOJ officials have held several meetings in the wake of the deadly Minneapolis school shooting to discuss a firearm ban for transgender Americans, according to the two sources who spoke to the Washington Post. When asked about recent media reports of possible gun ban for transgender people, a Justice Department spokesperson told ABC News the DOJ is actively evaluating options to prevent the pattern of violence we have seen from individuals with specific mental health challenges and substance abuse disorders. No specific criminal justice proposals have been advanced at this time. Meaning, and NBC came out and apologized for misgendering the shooter. And calling them a male. Because it's a woman. It's Robin Westman is a woman. They apologized for misgendering someone who went to a church and killed little kids. It's crazy. Crazy. In 2019, the shooter legally changed their name from Robert to Robin. Shooter identified as a female and wants her name to reflect that identification. Trump administration has not commented on the reported gun restrictions for transgender people. President Donald Trump has enforced other policies impacting the community. Yeah. And yeah, so there's weird cess stuff in the news. We got a little more weird cess stuff. Apparently, the gender pay gap myth is back in Utah. Utah's pushing it hard. You want to see how based Utah is? Utah ranked as worst state for women's equality. I saw this on Facebook and I just said based. Utah is dead last in the U.S. when it comes to women's equality. According to a recent study, the Beehive state came in 50th in 2 out of 3 equality-based dimensions compared to other states. Out of all 50 states, Utah is the worst for women's equality. Sounds like a lot of women here just don't like to work. They want to be housewives. They want to have a lot of kids and get married and have a lot of children. I know we make fun of the Mormons a lot, but yeah, seems pretty based. Beehive State has the second largest income gap between men and women, the 4th largest gap between men and women who hold executive positions. The study also reportedly found that women had the largest work hours gap, meaning they were working few paid hours than men overall. What does that mean? Why do you think the women in Utah want to work less hours than men? So that they can raise their families. They have big families, lots of kids. They want to stay home and take care of the kids. Utah is the largest educational attainment gap in the U.S. This means that men are overall reaching higher levels of education than women in Utah based. The third and final dimension that states were compared across political empowerment, Utah was ranked 28th in this category. Using metrics like disparity in share of lawmakers in the U.S., basically Utah is based. And this is just another article on the study. U.S. Youth shows Utah's high gender pay gap in new research. Utah Women in Leadership Program at Utah State University released new research titled Utah Gender Pay Gap. The report provides an overview of the gender pay gap within the state, components, and why it's important. I haven't looked through this study. I did get in an argument on Facebook with somebody on the mayor's Facebook page about the gender pay gap and how it's all a myth. There was a study done by, who is it? I can't remember the name right now. Cato Institute. Yeah, the Cato Institute study. Cato Institute study debunks the gender pay gap. We've went over the whole Cato Institute thing on a stream before, so I'm not going to do that right now because this is rapid fire. But basically, all this gender pay gap crap is a whole bunch of commie gobbledygook.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Just a little bit longer, bud. I know what you want. Okay. What else we got? Rapid fire news. TikTok influencer found slain with husband and 2 young children in Mexico. An investigation is underway after the bodies of a TikTok influencer and 3 of her family members were found in western Mexico. TikTok content creator Esmeralda Ferrar Garibay, her husband, and their 2 young children were slain on Friday in the San Andreas neighborhood of Guadalajara. Known as Esmeralda FG on TikTok was 32. Her husband was 36. Son was 13. Daughter 6. Family lived in south of Jalisco in the Mexican state of Michoacán. How do you say that? Michoacán, where prosecutors said the influencer's husband sold cars. Anyway, TikToker lady and her whole family were killed. Sad story. This music is horrible. Family was located inside a late model truck, abandoned at the mechanic shop, bodies wrapped in plastic. So this will be This will be on some true crime channels eventually, if they get them. If it's cartel crime, they're not going to catch anybody. Violence. Worked in car sales. Whoa. Deputy prosecutor stated the ballistics and blood evidence strongly suggested the family was killed at the site. Dang, she thick. Known online, nearly 50,000 TikTok followers, and shared lifestyle content about travel, family, and fashion. Anyway, she gone. Probably a cartel thing. Anyway. What else? From Fox 13. Umbrella mistaken for assault rifle sparks mall lockdown. Dude, it looks like a katana. What is this, like a ninja umbrella? They locked the mall down. The Destiny USA Mall in Syracuse, New York was placed on lockdown after people said they saw a man carrying a rifle. When police arrived, they located the man, but the weapon in question was actually an umbrella. The umbrella had a samurai-style handle, and the man was carrying it with a strap slung over his shoulder. Dude, that's a sick umbrella. Look at that umbrella. Dang, samurai umbrella. Just don't take it to the mall. Dude, people are so scared of shootings and stuff. Can't even take a scary black umbrella into the mall anymore. What else we got? Trump news. Oh, no, this is not Trump news. So this is about the speech stuff that's going on in England. People are getting arrested now. Somebody in Speakeasy's chat was saying that this was fake news, but there's a video of a guy yelling, "We love bacon," and he gets taken off by the police. Now, what the guy in the chat was saying was that he was not arrested. He was just taken out for his safety. But still, you're going to detain a guy and force him to leave a protest because he said, "We love bacon"? Kind of crazy. And then this guy made a tweet about punching transgenders in the balls, and he's been arrested. So let's just play this. Of course, there's going to be an ad. With President Donald Trump's slated departure for a state visit to the United Kingdom later this month, another high-profile arrest has exposed Britain's growing free speech crisis. I have another article here that says there's been something like 30 arrests so far. The arrest of an Arizona-based Irish comedian Graham Linehan for allegedly criticizing transgender activists on social media coincided with a Wednesday warning from British politician Nigel Farage. Let's watch this.
Armed police over anti-transgender tweets.
He writes on Substack, quote, "In a country where pedophiles escape sentencing, where knife crime is out of control, where women are assaulted and harassed every time they gather to speak, the state has mobilized 5 armed officers to arrest a comedy writer." Former Mumford & Sons member Winston Marshall joins us now. Winston, what...
Are they not going to share the tweet? Where's the copy of the tweet? Basically, he said if you see a trans woman in your a trans person in your women's restroom, call the police, make a scene, get loud, and then punch them in the balls.
What happened to freedom of speech in England?
Oh, my goodness, it's in a perilous state. I should say that Graham is a good friend of mine, and I have been speaking with him since his arrest. He's actually been let out on bail on the condition that he does not post on X again, on the condition that he does not tweet again. He was arrested upon arrival from Arizona 2 days ago and released yesterday about midday. The crime, quote unquote crime, I should say, was 3 tweets, 3 gender-critical tweets, 3 comments about trans. Now, Graham has been an outspoken advocate for women's rights in Britain and around Europe and the world for the last many years. He's been on my show to discuss it, and he cares passionately about it, and he's lost a tremendous amount because of it. Tremendously, not only in his personal life, but as a consequence at work, he's made many sacrifices. Well, now it seems the state are after him. As for what's going on in Britain with regards to free speech, well, this isn't the only case of someone being arrested for social media posts and tweets. I think this year, we've had over 3,000 arrests for social media posts, and that compares to Russia, which has had about 400. Wow. I need to double check that, but it's a ballpark around that sort of area. But last year, when Sir Keir Starmer and his Labour government came to power, a moment I might note might be what America might look like had Kamala won last year. Things were bad already before Starmer came to power, but things got a whole lot worse. Last summer there were riots, and in the aftermath, Starmer decided to push down and use his powers to encourage the arrest of people for tweeting. Lucy Connolly spent a long time in prison for a tweet.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to cut you off. We just have to get this last topic in because it's going viral on social media, and because of your music background, we want to get to Coldplay's Chris Martin, sparking outrage for his interaction with 2 Israeli fans that he invited on stage at his concert and how he reacted to that situation. Watch this.
I haven't seen this.
Where did you come from today?
Oh, is this where the people were
from Israel? Okay, well, listen.
Dude, why does Coldplay concerts keep going viral?
I'm going to say this. I'm very grateful that you're here as humans, and I'm treating you as equal humans on Earth.
Even though I think Israel is committing genocide right now. Watch him say something stupid like that.
Regardless of where you come from. Although it's controversial, maybe, I also want to welcome people in the audience from Palestine, because we have a belief that we're all equally human.
There's an art in just moving on, and he certainly did not display it there. Made those fans very uncomfortable. Your reaction in about the 20 seconds we have remaining.
Well, you wouldn't if, for example, there were Ukrainians on stage say,
we also love the Russians. Facts.
Just want to say, if there are any Russians, that they are welcome here. You wouldn't think to have to make that statement. If it was 1940, we're going to do a thought experiment, and some English people that come on stage at a concert here in America, you wouldn't think, oh, and if there are any Germans here, we would think of them. Israel have been fighting a war against not only their enemies, but America's enemies. So it's just embarrassing, really. From
Winston Marshall, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Winston Marshall, he seems like a good reporter. He got that British accent. Comedy writer arrested for anti-trans tweets. UK speech crackdown is a warning. Anyway, it's just more on that. J.K. Rowling's has stuff to say about it. Here's Graham with a sign that says keep men out of women's sports. Comedy writer says he was interrogated for 3 posts from April and accused of inciting violence. If trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he is committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls. They said he's inciting violence for that. That's crazy. I'm glad you're here as humans. Crazy. But there's also Palestinian humans. All right. So that's it for the rapid fire news. Crazy stuff going on in the UK. We got for the last little segment here, we're just gonna do a throwback debate review. So I watched Andrew and Jake's extravaganza ranking of all the like right-wing commentators. And there were some names that I didn't really know. And this guy, Jared Taylor, I actually have heard of him before because JLP has talked about him before. But when they said him, And they said he's really good with like racial debates, which is that's something I kind of specialize in myself. I'm a black person expert. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to check this guy out. And then when I watched this, I realized, oh, I've heard of this guy before because JLP's talked about him, and the reason his name's not really recognizable is because this is from 8 years ago. What we're gonna watch. He's kind of like persona non grata. He's kind of like a Nick Fuentes type, or who's the guy that wrote White Girl Bleed a Lot, who got canceled. He was an author. He passed away. He's dead now. I can't remember his name right now. But basically, this is one of those topics you're not allowed to talk about, or you're not supposed to talk about. But now it's becoming popular to talk about it. So it ties in with the whole race relations of the show, the theme. So we're going to watch this. Cenk thinks he wins this debate. Cenk gets destroyed in this debate. Okay? Not even a question. It's crazy. So hold on, let me fix my overlay real quick. Yeah, that should be good. Okay. Listen to Cenk spurg out Cenk, whatever his name is. The guy who has a show called the Young Turks, which is named after a group that commit the Armenian genocide, a group of people that went in and killed a bunch of Christians in Armenia. That's what his whole network is named after. So you see where he's coming from. He's going to debate Jared Taylor about race relations in America 8 years ago. And Cenk is going to lose his mind as usual. By golly, golly geez. Well, you can't just say this, then this, and this, and this, and by golly. I hate when he does the stupid by golly thing, or by gosh. Well, you just think, well, by golly. Well, I'm just going to. I hate Cenk. It's so annoying. But he's going to get bodied here. Now, technically, spoiler alert, Jared's going to rage quit. He's going to hang up. He's going to rage quit. But I think sometimes a rage quit is justified. If you come on a big network like this and the person is just talking trash about you and calling you an idiot, don't waste your time with that. They're just trying to smear you. Screw them. Hang up the phone. Because especially if they have a big interview planned and you just walk out, just hang up. A lot of people rage quit on the fallen state like that. But that would be different. If I'm in your studio, if I come to the studio and I'm in studio with you, I'm not going to walk out. I'm going to sit there and look you in the eye and have the conversation. But if it's a call-in interview and you're just calling me an idiot and yelling at me and stuff, I just hang up. I don't got time for that. But here we go. Let's watch this. Throwback debate review.
You're about to be in store for a very fun interview. We're going to talk to Jared Taylor. Jared Taylor graduated in 1973 from Yale University with a BA in philosophy.
So this video was made 8 years ago, but this interview is actually from 2008. So this is 10, I can't math right now, 17 years old. This is a 17-year-old interview, but it's actually a heated debate because Cenk can't hear facts. All Jared does is list facts, and Cenk loses his mind.
He is a self-avowed expert on race relations. He's the president of New Century Foundation and the author of Paved with Good Intentions, The Failure of Race Relations in
I'm also an expert on race relations. I'm a black person expert.
In contemporary America. He, from time to time, describes himself as a racialist, which I thought was only a word that Ali G used, and a racial realist. We're about to find out what all of that is, but he's also written an article on immigration and the different ethnicity composition of the U.S. and how it is changing and how it's going to affect the U.S. Jared, welcome to the Young Turks.
Thank you. I'm glad to be on the program.
All right. This should be fun. Now, in 2042, we find out that America is going to become a majority-minority country, meaning that there will be more what we call
2042. In 2008, he was estimating 2042. Guess what? In 2004, we saw it was the first year that there were more minority children born than white children in 2004. So now, of course, there's still old people and middle-aged people who are still living. As they die off, birth rates go down, immigration goes up. I think he overestimated. I think he was being very generous and conservative by saying 2042. I think it's looking more like 2030.
Minorities now as opposed to whites. You are apparently troubled by this. Why is that?
Well, imagine the situation reversed. Imagine, for example, that hundreds and thousands of poor whites were pouring across the border into Mexico, insisting on instruction in English rather than Spanish, and celebrating 4th of July rather than Cinco de Mayo.
Mexico would not put up with that. I guarantee you that is not going to fly in Mexico. Cartels are going to wipe you out. Remember the Mormon family that got killed in Mexico? Why? Just because they were white and living in Mexico? Whole big family of Mormons all slaughtered in Mexico by cartels.
Buying up radio stations and newspapers and broadcasting in English rather than Spanish, wanting voting papers written in English rather than Spanish. And imagine that some of them were even muttering darkly about breaking off a chunk of northern Mexico and kicking out all the Mexicans and making it an all-white enclave. Do you think that the Mexicans would consider this a wonderful exercise in diversity and welcome it as cultural enrichment?
No.
Well, Jared, I have a couple of points to make about that.
Don't make points. Answer his question, Jank. Do you think Mexico would put up with that shit? The answer is no. See, Sal? Answer? No. Only answer is no.
Those are interesting. We don't have to use Mexico as an example because I can remember hundreds of thousands, millions of poor white people pouring into a country. That country was called America.
Oh, my God. Look at this Dodge. Look at this Dodge.
Irish and the Italians came in, let alone many other white ethnicities. And at the time, people said, oh, no, this is going to destroy a once great country. But it didn't. It made it stronger. Did that not do anything to convince you that perhaps immigration might not be such a bad idea?
It depends largely on where it's from.
Oh.
People often, oh yes, don't forget. You say that you will tell me, and you're right, that despite great reservations about the Irish and the Italians, they integrated just fine. And after about 3 or 4 generations, it doesn't make any difference where you're from in Europe, but in terms of college education, household income, likelihood to marry outside of your original ethnicity, all those groups become indistinguishable. And people will say, okay, that means that the Haitians and the Guatemalans coming in now will be no different. That overlooks one very important thing, and that's what makes people uncomfortable, namely race. There were 2 racial groups here long before the ethnics showed up at the turn of the 19th and 20th century, American Indians and blacks, who are still not integrated in the way that the European ethnics did. Therefore, it's false to assume that just what happened to the Italians is the same thing that's going to happen to the Guatemalans.
All right, so let me try to understand that. You're saying that, the Irish and the Italians and the Polish and the Germans, they all came in, but they were white, okay?
That's right.
So we all integrated fine because white people rock. No. It's because race is one of the most serious fault lines in any society. You will find that attempts to assimilate will generally work if they cross racial lines, so long as language enclaves don't develop to the extent that they do, say, in Quebec in Canada. If you have a very substantial language enclave, you do not get assimilation across language lines. Race is a very, very difficult thing wherever you...
I heard, I think it was Andrew, he was talking about the 3 pillars of what makes culture. And I forget what he said, but I didn't agree with what he said. He said, I can't remember what he said, but I would say it's language, race, and religion. Those are the 3 pillars of what makes a culture. I think he said, His was pretty out. He said religion, and then he said two other things. Maybe he said race, but he didn't say language. Language is very important. It's language, race, and religion. That's what forms a cohesive culture. All the extra stuff, food, music, tradition, those things play a role, but those things, that's like an after effect. The three pillars of a culture is language, race, and religion.
You look anywhere in the world.
All right, so let me try to understand that. In America, we have been assimilating different races for centuries now, including blacks, Latinos, Asians, etc. Are you saying America failed? I thought we were a shining success, a light onto the world.
Why is it that there's no school in America that passes what's called the lunchroom litmus test? In other words, it's all very well to have people who are Hispanics, Asians, whites, blacks go to the same school, but they sort themselves out into very clearly racially demarcated groups as soon as they get the chance.
As soon as they go to the lunchroom, they click up. They click up by race, they click up by... And then that's when you start seeing the differences in culture with music and stuff. They'll often click up by what music they listen to. The hip-hop heads, the country boys, the rockers, I think music is a big part of culture too. But you could have a white English-speaking Christian culture, and you have people who like rock, and they're going to click up, and then country, and then rap. I mean, in a white Christian English-speaking country, you probably wouldn't have a whole lot of hip-hop, but if it was just that. But yeah, this is the same thing with cities. How you'll have like a Chinatown, and then you'll have the brown neighborhoods, and you'll have the black neighborhoods, and you'll have the white neighborhoods. People naturally click up. And I got in an argument with Effigy on VK one night about this. And he's like, no, that's because of the government making them do that. Shut up, dude. No, people naturally... Joneses follow suit. This is something we learned when I did door-to-door sales. Joneses follow suit. Meaning, if you see a street and somebody gets a basketball hoop, before long, everybody's going to have a basketball hoop. If you see a street... So you'll see one street with no basketball hoops. The next street... 8 out of 10 houses have basketball hoops. That's because Joneses follow suit. As soon as one of them gets a basketball hoop, they all want a basketball hoop. You'll see one street where all the cars are blue, or like 7 out of 10 cars are blue. The next street over, 7 out of 10 cars are red. Joneses follow suit. They do what the people around them are doing. And they group together based off of commonalities that they share amongst each other. So I've seen that, especially in California, you'll see this. In California, there's neighborhood after neighborhood after neighborhood after neighborhood where they're all the same prefab ticky-tack houses. You ever seen the show Weeds? Ticky-tack houses and ticky-tack boxes and ticky-tack. Yeah. So miles and miles and miles of neighborhoods that are identical to each other. Same style houses, prefabricated ticky-tack houses. And we called it, when we did door-to-door sales, it was called ticky-tack. It was like, what do you want to work today? You want to work power? You want to work dirty butt? You want to work ticky-tack? Ticky-tack suburban neighborhoods where all the houses are prefab. They all look the same. There's like 2 or 3 models, and they just repeat them, and they just boom, 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 drop them. And you'll have a huge neighborhood of ticky-tack houses. You get dropped off in that neighborhood. You'll find one street will all be white people. Then the next street, it's all Escalades, and now all of a sudden it's all black people. Then the next street, it's all El Caminos and stuff, and it's all brown people. The next street smells like curry, it's just people click up like that. It just happened. Yeah, cookie cutter houses, yep.
We are required to be racially integrated in terms of the workplace, in terms of our schools, but when Americans are left to their own devices, for example, if they go to church, in the United States today, more than 95% of church congregations are at least 80% one race. That's because in their own decisions, when they're left to their...
Yeah, why do you think we say the black church? And that's not even race. Everybody knows which church is the black church. And I'm not even saying nothing bad about black churches. They're probably, they're fun. They got a lot of energy, a lot of soul. Hey, hell. You know, black church is fun. If you've never been to a black church, you got to check one out. But the churches will naturally group like that. We have a black Seventh-day Adventist church right around the corner from me. I want to go check it out one day. But I didn't even know there was black Seventh-day Adventist churches. But there's one right around the corner from me, and it's like Africa, like African black church. It's like all like Ethiopian people go there, like really black people, not like there's no light skin. It's, but I'm gonna go check it out someday. It seems interesting. And then you'll have the Asian church, and you'll have the brown church. People naturally gravitate towards people who look like them. That's not a bad thing.
Their own devices, people do not want diversity. People are far more comfortable with people exactly like themselves.
All right, Jared, let me explain a couple of ways that you're wrong. Number one,
well, first of all, explain how my facts are wrong.
I'm going to tell you.
Right. He's just laying out facts and statistics right now. Everything he said is just true. It's just true. Everything I'm saying is just true. As no interpretation has been made. It's just, here's the facts. Here's what we see. Now, what does this mean? And Jane says, oh, let me tell you where you're wrong. Well, tell me where my facts are wrong first.
You just said that in almost every school, I thought maybe you even said in every school in the country, that people are, virtually every school in the country, they're segregated along race lines. That has not been my experience at all. I understand that some are, okay? I'm being a racial...
Your experience? When was the last time you were in elementary school, Jank? What do you go visit schools? You hang out at schools and like study them? What are you talking about? This is an anecdote that is a bullshit anecdote, by the way. It's not even a good anecdote. In my experience, I go to schools all the time, by golly, and I see different people. You go to the lunchrooms of schools regularly, Jank? You go on the playgrounds of schools regularly? Seems like maybe we should put you on a list, buddy.
Racial realist there, if you will, right? But I've gone to many schools, including my own, where that was not the case. I went to a school in New Jersey where we had Asians, Indians, Koreans, Jewish, white, black, everybody sat in the same lunch table.
Really? That's retarded. You had one giant lunch table in your lunchroom? Shut up, Jank. You weren't sitting at the black table, Jank.
Oh, and you know what? Here at the Young Turks, we have a Latino, we have an Armenian, we have a Turk, we have a white guy, we have a Jew, we have a black, and we all...
An Armenian? Did you try to murder him?
all work together. It's crazy. Let me ask you this, Jared. Hold on. Let me finish the question. Okay. All right, let me get back to this. So let me get to the question, okay? Now, whether we mix, as we do here at the Young Turks or in my high school, or whether we don't mix, in some of the examples you point out, either way, this diversity has only strengthened America. The results, as they would say, the proof is in the pudding. America's been the #1 superpower and is still the number.
Why do you think we make guys in the military all wear the same uniform, all have the same haircut, all have the same facial hair? Why do you think they do that? Because diversity is not strength. When it's time to fight, when it's time to be strong, you need one mind. We need one leader, and everybody needs to be of the same mind. Why do you think schools where kids wear uniforms perform better than schools where kids don't wear uniforms? A military where the guys wear the same uniforms performs better than a military where it's just a bunch of people looking like hobos. Because because diversity is not strength.
#1 superpower. So how you guys always talk about this
And I know we said before, you know, Jesus didn't come to unite, he came to divide. That's talking about good and evil. Good and evil don't mix. You know, children of God and children of Satan, oil and water don't mix. So I understand, you know, I'm not a globalist and think that we can all just kumbaya and get along and be the same religion and the same. No, that one world religion and one world currency and one world measurement and one world, all that stuff is communist gobbledygook. I know that's never going to happen. But if two groups of people are going into battle, I want my group to be united as one mind. Brothers, we need to look the same, we need to talk the same, we need to act the same. And then one leader, and we all follow the leader, and then we win the war. Diversity doesn't do that. Diversity leads to lack of cohesion.
Disintegration of society because the races don't mix. First of all, they do mix. Second of all, even if they didn't, we still win because we have that diversity.
Tell me, at what point in America's history was it the most dominant power? At what point in America's history did it have the world's largest proportion of industrial and economic might? Tell me, when was that?
All right, well, let me tell you.
It was in 1945. In 1945, we were still 20 years away from abolishing a system, an immigration system that was designed specifically to keep the country majority white.
Jared, do you
hold on. Let's be factual here.
No, I'm trying to be factual. Jared, let me explain something. Let me ask you a question, okay? Do you purposely twist the facts, or do you just not know the facts? Let me explain something to you. Do you not realize that we had the highest percentage of wealth in the world in 1945 because Europe and Asia were decimated by World War II? Or do you ignore that fact on purpose? And do you ignore the fact that we boomed and were the #1 superpower, and after demolishing the Soviet Union, in fact, our height was in the 1990s until, of course, Bush came in. And those facts are conveniently ignored by you. Did we or did we not have the highest percentage in 1945 because the rest of the world was destroyed? Do you understand that fact?
You know, if you stop shouting and listening, you might learn something.
Tell me about it, Mr. Racialist.
The fact is, Mr. What did you call me?
Racialist. You call yourself
Mr. Racialist.
It sounded like he said racist, but I think he did say racialist.
Tell me about it, Mr. Racialist.
The fact.
Okay, he did say racialist. The first time I thought he said racist, but to Jank it means the same thing.
Mr. What did you call me?
Racialist. You call yourself
racialist. That is something, that's a word that's been used to describe me. The proper term that I use for myself is a race realist. In fact, of course, the fact that 1945, Europe and Japan were in bad shape, of course that's part of it. But there is no question that up until 1965, we were still very much the dominant power, and it is as our country has become increasingly diverse, I don't necessarily wish to connect the two, our proportion of wealth and power has declined quite dramatically. Now, you say that diversity is a strength. Without diversity, we would have no such thing as race riots. We would have no such thing as racial discrimination suits. We would have no such thing as race riots in high schools where blacks and Hispanics beat up on each other. Furthermore, let me finish.
All right, go ahead.
We would have no such thing as prisons in California and Texas that are kept in a constant state of lockdown, because if the black and Hispanic prisoners are allowed to mix, they will be at each other's throats. You cannot point to a single thing in any kind of macroeconomic sense and say the presence of 30 million Mexicans in this country has made our country stronger. All of that is pure myth-making.
All right, Jared, look, you've said so many things that are absurd. Let me ask you a couple of questions.
All
right, let me ask you a couple of questions. All right, you say we wouldn't have any race riots if we didn't have any different races. Well, I suppose that's true. Does that mean we should do some ethnic cleansing? And
of course not.
Because the Germans wouldn't have had any problems with the Jews if they had just finished, you know, what was happening in World War II. They wouldn't have had any problem with the Jews, right? Because there wouldn't be any.
My point is, by adding more ingredients, more fault lines, we are only brewing trouble. We never had a black and Mexican race riot until we had large populations of Mexicans.
If we never kept the Mexicans out, we never would have had this problem in the first place. But we did have race riots before the Mexicans came in. Could that have been because we had slavery and then impoverished the African-American population here, or that had nothing to do with it? It was just the blacks going crazy?
You have race riots in Britain. You have race riots in Canada. The history of blacks in those countries is...
There are currently black plantation owners who were the slaves on the plantations, and then when they were freed, they stayed on the plantation and continued to work because they had a great life there. And once they started getting paid and the owner of the plantation got older, the owner of the plantation sold the plantation to the former slave. And now to this day, there are black plantation owners who own the plantation that their ancestors worked on.
Radically different from the history of blacks in the United States, and you still have precisely the same problem.
And they're rich.
Of any kind of multiracial society, namely conflict and tension. It's part of human nature. If you look around the world, those places where people are most diligently killing each other are precisely those places where diverse populations are trying to share the same territory, whether it's...
And they're rich, and they're Christians, and they have big families, and they love God, and they love family, and they live a hard-working, honest life, and they deserve everything they have. And their ancestors were slaves, and they still live on the plantation, and they're not bitching and complaining.
Diversity of religion, race, language, or nationality.
So,
diversity
Jared, I
is
want
a
to
source
understand.
of tension, not of strength.
No, I want to understand your vision of the world, okay? Because apparently you don't believe in our vision of America where we all come together and we'll live together. So how does your vision work? We all go into our separate enclaves and we say, all right, this is white America, and presumably we either kick people out or I don't know what we do with them, but they all go into their separate countries and they don't let anybody else into their countries and nobody ever mixes, and then everything is rock and roll? Is that the vision?
I have only recommended two policies the United States.
Everything is rock and roll? Cenk, you're saying everything should be kumbaya the other way.
One is to stop immigration. We don't need no more people. We already have 300 million people in this country. When's the last time you were driving down the road and you said to yourself, gosh, there's just not enough cars on the highway. I wish there were more.
When I drove across the country in Kansas,
I bet you
in
wish
Pennsylvania,
you wish to see more and more cars,
Texas,
I'm sure. Well, you're the only one in America who feels that way, believe me. We have 300 million people. The Census Bureau is telling us if current immigration continues, by the year 2050, we'll have 450 million people. Another 150 million people. We're trying to talk seriously about energy independence, for example. We're trying to talk seriously about environmental protection. How is that going to be helped by another 150 million people? So, for a host of reasons, I would stop immigration right where it is. The other thing that I would say, the only other policy advocate I would be, is to eliminate all anti-discrimination laws. I believe in complete freedom of association, and if you wish to associate only with red-headed duck hunters, that should be your right. If you're a private employer, you should have the employee
right
people
to hire whoever you want.
Suit you the best.
So let me understand that, Jared. If Greyhound Bus says, hey, listen, we wish to have black people sit on the back of the bus, that's A-okay.
No, if you...
This dumbass doesn't even know that Rosa Parks was an NAACP plant, that it was supposed to be Colette Calvin, something like that. But she got pregnant and she was 16, and it didn't look good to have a pregnant 16-year-old girl on the bus. So they put Rosa Parks in there. She was a plant from the NAACP. And what happened was when they did that, all of the black-owned bus businesses, because there were black-only bus businesses, all of the black-owned bus businesses got shut down when they did forced immigration. So those black-owned bus owners, bus businesses or bus owners, they lost their jobs because of forced integration. There were thriving black business owners who had black-owned bus businesses for blacks only, and they were thriving. When we did forced immigration because of the NAACP and the fake Rosa Parks crap, they all lost their businesses. So what do? Well, they have to go on welfare now. So then we give them welfare. And that's the way that happens. That's the Democrats, Cenk, that did that. That's not freedom, that's not capitalism, that's communism.
You are a monopoly supplier. You have no right to discriminate. If you are the monopoly electric company, no, you don't have the right to say, well, we're going to sell electricity only to right-handed people. But if you are a private individual, just as you have the right to choose your own spouse for good reasons, bad reasons, or no reasons at all, If you are a private employer,
don't give them any ideas, Jared. Don't give the government any ideas about forcing who we can marry. Say we're not allowed to marry in our same race or else we're racist.
you should have the right to choose your employees for good reasons, bad reasons, no reasons at all. If they turn out to be good workers, so much the better for you. If because of irrational discrimination,
Marx was actually against marriage. He said that marriage was a man owning a woman as property, and so we should do away with marriage. That's part of the Communist Manifesto.
hire only Asians, for example, and it turns out Asians can't do the job, your company will fail. But you should have the right to discriminate.
All right, so we're talking to Jared Taylor. I want to ask you about, whether I disagree with that is a different question, and I do, but I don't want to get into all of that. But you mentioned that we should have these races, as far as I could tell, separate, but those two things
I just told you.
No, because you were saying that once we put the Mexicans and the blacks together, they have race riots. Once we put the whites and the blacks together, we have race riots, so we should stop. Why can't we do it the other way? If in 2042 the minorities are going to be the majority, why can't we stop white folks from coming into the country?
We could. I just told you I want to stop everyone from coming into the country. In fact, when we have a majority non-white in this country, it's entirely possible that by that point they will be able to pass through legislation that will provide for financial compensation for slavery and financial compensation for invasion of what used to be Mexico and is now part of the southwestern United States. Yes, they'll be perfectly capable of passing laws of that kind.
All right, Jared.
I don't look forward to that, but that's certainly a possibility. But what I've told you is I believe in complete freedom of association. Those who wish to mix, God bless them. Those who don't wish to mix, they should be entirely free to exercise that right.
All right, and we're going to give you some examples of Jared's thought on that, but I want to remind everybody, Jared Taylor is the president of New Century Foundation. He's the author of Paved with Good Intentions, The Failure of Race Relations in Contemporary America. I know that you have some issues with mixing, Jared, because you said apparently in May of 2005, I want my grandchildren to look like my grandparents. I don't want them to look like Anwar Sadat or Fu Manchu or Whoopi Goldberg.
Entirely correct.
Okay.
You want I would prefer that my children look like my grandchildren look like my grandparents. Many people in America, not just whites, feel that same way.
Okay, so you don't, if your daughter wanted to marry a black guy, you'd be like, well, look, I don't want my granddaughters looking like Whoopi Goldberg. You'd ask her to reconsider.
That's entirely correct. And what's wrong with that?
Okay, no, I'm just getting it on the record as to what your feelings are. There's no problem.
My ancestors have been Europeans for 40,000 years. We like it that way. I'd be very surprised if my children decided to marry outside of their race.
I'd be surprised too if they grew up in your household. All right, so Jared, let me ask you this question. We also have this quote from you. Quote, there is no scale on which racial differences can all be ranked so as to draw across-the-board conclusions about racial superiority or inferiority. That sounds pretty good. But, quote, it is certainly true that in some important traits, intelligence, law-abidingness, sexual restraint, academic performance, resistance to disease, whites can be considered superior to blacks. At the same time, in exactly these same traits, North Asians appear to be superior to whites. Do you really believe that?
Well, why would you not believe that? That's where all the evidence points. All of the evidence buttresses those positions. There's overwhelming evidence for that. Why would you, looking around the world today as we see it, why would you think for a moment that Haitians or Australian Aborigines, on average, are as intelligent as Japanese? Why would you think that? There's no evidence for it whatsoever.
Jared, can you really be this stupid?
Yeah. Can you really be this stupid? Can you really be this stupid, Jank? People deny it. And they try to get around it. They say it's the culture, but I don't know. Seems pretty evident that oh no.
Because look, if we stopped in the turn of the millennium, okay, and we said, hey, look, the Arab Empire rules the world.
And if somebody says it's the culture, well, if you read the bell curve, they've done studies on this where they take somebody who is like an exchange student or something from Haiti or from Ethiopia or an Asian person, they put them in a different area, or they grow up you know, you're an immigrant from this area and you grow up in the suburbs and you go to a nice school, you go to a good school, you go to college and stuff, they're still not at the same level as the other people. The white people are still not at the same level as the Chinese people. Even if the Chinese person grows up in America their whole life, they're born in America, but their parents are from China, they're still going to outperform us in IQ and math and things like that. Even if they grew up in a white neighborhood, went to white school or American, let's say American schools, American neighborhood, they never even been to China. Their parents have assimilated. So their parents basically do most of the culture. Maybe around the house, they have some Chinese traditions they do and things like that. But the parents are hyper focused on education and making sure the kid gets educated. Is that from their culture, or is that something inherently in them? Never look at the bell curve or you're bad. Yeah.
The largest empire in the world. These little people in villages in Europe, they're so pathetically stupid. How could they possibly compare to the Arabs, who are the geniuses of the world?
Again, if you stop shouting.
This is like the same as the Fuentes and Candace debate. This is how people react when you just lay out facts.
Compared to the Arabs, who are the geniuses of the world.
Again, if you stop shouting, perhaps you will calm down and learn something.
About how white people are superior. But I'm not white, so I go ahead. Teach, Master.
When have the Australian Aborigines contributed anything of significance to world culture? And let me ask you once again, why would you consider, look at the 5,000 years of the past history.
You asked me a question. Do you understand the kind of history?
Look. I think there's supposed to be two people talking here. You called up to interview me, not to go on a monologue.
Yeah.
Why would you even for a moment think that Australian Aborigines have contributed and have signs of the same intelligence as Japanese?
Okay, Jared, you asked me a question. You asked me a question. Let me answer that.
Why would you think that?
Yes, I'm going to answer that. Because I have studied history, and I have seen the Egyptian Empire rise and then fall. Roman Empire rise, fall. Greek Empire, Persian Empire, Arab Empire, Chinese empires, American Empire, European empires. I have seen all the different races with great empires rise and fall. And if you stopped at any point and said, hey, you know what? It looks like the Egyptians are the greatest people on earth. And these Aborigines in America or in France or in England, oh, by God, they are pathetic and they've accomplished nothing in history at all. Well, then, yes, you would be right at that point in time. But you see how history changes and different empires rise and fall at different times? And then
see, he's doing a genetic fallacy or an appeal to tradition. Grant's just laying out the facts. And Jenks says, whoa, but what about back then?
Just looking at today and saying, well, the Australian Aborigines haven't done anything, so they must be stupid, is in fact the really stupid thing to do.
Tell me about the Australian Aborigine Empire.
You know, you're an idiot. Okay,
well,
I just told you that there was no American empire before the Egyptians, when the Egyptians and the Romans were in charge. You know, I know he hung up. God, people like this, they're so simple-minded, they're so pathetically stupid, because they get this one point in their head and they think they're clever. They're like, oh, well, the Aborigines didn't do anything, so I must be right. Black people must be stupid. Well, what about when black people ruled the world, when the Egyptians were in charge? Oh, damn, I didn't think of that. Or if I did, I'm going to go back to the Australian Aborigine point, because I don't have another point. God, you know, these people.
He's such a little girl. He's such a little girl, dude. The Aboriginal. He called him an idiot, and Grant hung up.
And look, they're on the
Jared hung up.
right side of the political spectrum, okay? They're not on the left side. They're on the right side. They hate America. They hate the idea of us mixing together. The melting pot.
Melting Pot is a play that comes from a play that was written by a communist about how one day all the immigrants are going to go to America and it's going to be a great place to live. Melting pot, when people use that term melting pot, communism has seeped into America so much for so long that people don't even know they're making communist talking points. When they talk about minimum wage and living wage and civil rights and women's rights and feminism and the melting pot. It's all communism. It's all commie gobbledygook.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
But anyway, so that's that. Cenk freaked out, acted like a little girl. Jared said, I'm not going to be called an idiot on an interview. You're supposed to be a journalist. You're calling your guest an idiot. So he dipped. I get it. I couldn't put up with Cenk for very long. I don't know how anybody can. He's insufferable. But anyway, I got to go, guys. Guys, the nails are doing good. I haven't chewed my nails in like a week. Well, like 3 times I've like caught myself starting to, and then I stop. But from constantly chewing them all the time to catching myself doing it like 3 times in a week and stopping, it's pretty good. They're starting to look healthy. That's pretty neat. If I can quit chewing my nails, I can quit smoking. I can quit anything because I've been doing that forever. This is probably harder than quitting smoking because they're attached to my hand and it's just natural for me to do it. And so doing pretty good with it. I'm happy for myself. But anyway, Speakeasy should be debating right now. It should be starting right now. He started his stream at 8:45, and I think Sarah's stream is starting at 9. They're debating, so I will raid you over to there. And I got to go to work, and I'll be watching that debate in the chat. Should be a good one. There's some heavy hitters on there. That soy pill guy, I don't know how that soy pill guy is popular. Lefties are retarded, but he's popular. And then No Fugazi, I don't really watch him, but I guess he's kind of like a red pill guy. I don't know, but he's all right. I don't got nothing against him. It's not my flavor, not big on the red pill stuff, but he does religious debates and stuff too, so I like those. But I am going to send you over to Easy Channel. We can watch that debate. And I got to go to work. Thank you, Elder Lion, for the super chat. If you guys didn't hit like yet, make sure you hit like. And I will see you guys in the morning. We got to finish Nehemiah. So God bless everybody. Have a good day. Remember, Dreaded Conservative show, Monday night, kicking the week off right. The world's a crazy place. I just report on it. I'm going to get out of here. God bless, guys. Peace.
2 mentals don't make a non-mental.
Wrong sound effect. Deuces.